The era of Beast Girls begins with a pact with an SSS-Level School Beauty. Hey, fanfic family. So glad to see you here again to continue this incredible adventure. As always, kindly remember, this story is 100% fiction. So don't go looking for dimensional portals in your closet. All rights to this fantastic novel belong to the original author. We're just your humble narrators of epic tales. Are you enjoying the fanfic? Show it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and dropping us a like. And if you're impatient for more exclusive content, our Patreon is your happy place. Chapter 551 The Time Empress has been here? What's going on? Wasn't Bai Mao's body completely obliterated, her soul shattered, and her will dissipated? Why is she now squatting alive in the soul space? The soul space can hold living beings, but not for long, otherwise problems will arise. Xiao Ye pulled Bai Mao out. Bai Mao squatted on the ground, her small face pale with fright, muttering repeatedly, "Xiao Ye, you big bastard. You promised to marry me if I didn't die, but you locked me up. You must have gone back on your word. And that stinky master, is he trying to eat my food? I didn't get to eat my master's food, but he almost did." Xiao Ye, Ziran, and the Xie family's holy realm looked at Bai Mao squatting on the ground, exchanging bewildered glances. Xiao Ye's lips twitched. "Bai Mao, you actually spoke ill of me behind my back. Be careful, Ziran isn't petty, she might put you in solitary confinement." Huangfu Xiangling was startled, looked up, and was immediately stunned. I'm out? Xiao Ye, I'm alive." She rushed over in surprise, clinging to Xiao Ye. Xiao Ye held her. "Yes, you're alive, but how did you survive? We all thought you were dead, there was no way to save you." Ziran's face was full of joy as she stepped forward to check her disciple's condition. She found that the white-haired girl was in excellent condition, without any injuries, as if she hadn't been struck by the terrifying killing intent, as if nothing had ever happened. The white-haired girl with pigtails looked blank. "I don't know. I only remember saying a few words to you, you promised to marry me, and then you passed away peacefully. But when I opened my eyes again, I was perfectly fine." Xiao Ye frowned. Something strange. The white-haired girl couldn't have survived for no reason, someone must have saved her. But this kind of resurrection-type divine power isn't as simple as rebirth through blood or healing with a supreme treasure. A shattered soul and dissipated will would definitely have serious after effects after healing, but the white-haired girl didn't seem to have any. "Husband, who cares, I'm alive." The little white-haired girl with twin ponytails was overjoyed, pouting her lips as she kissed him. Xiao Ye. He was actually forcibly kissed. How audacious. His master, Ziran, was right there. The Xie family's Saint Realm expert looked away, lost in thought, secretly giving a thumbs up. "Young master, you're really amazing. Not only did you win over the saintess, but you also bewitched her disciple." Ziran smiled. After this incident, she had changed her mind. Since her disciple liked Xiao Ye, then let her marry him. Fulfill her disciple's wish. Anyway, Xiao Ye had so many beast girls, one more white-haired girl wouldn't make a difference, and one less wouldn't make a difference either. 10 seconds later, Huangfu Xiangling lowered her head shyly. "Xiao Ye, my husband, you've corrupted me. You must marry me, or I'll never be able to face anyone again. That was my first kiss. Master said kissing leads to pregnancy, I'm going to have your baby." Ziran was taken aback. "Did I say that?" Xiao Ye savored the lingering sweetness in his mouth. He had sensed a trace of the time rule on Bai Mao. The time rule, time reversal, injuries disappearing, body intact. His eyes lit up, and he said, "Bai Mao, perhaps I know why you were resurrected." Bai Mao and Ziran were curious. A wise light appeared in Xiao Ye's eyes. "Time within you has reversed. From the moment you died, your time reverted to before you were injured. It seems someone used time magic to save you." Ziran and Bai Mao were astonished. They looked around but didn't find any powerful beings with time attributes. "But Xiangling's memories are still intact," Ziran said, puzzled. A glint flashed in Xiao Ye's eyes. "Perhaps this is an even more powerful expert than we imagined, with an incredibly refined control over time." The space ancestor Empress descended from the sky, landing beside the white-haired girl. She reached out to probe. "This is my sister's aura. My sister was here just now?" "Hiss. My sister's realm has reached a level I can only look up to." As the space ancestor Empress, she was at the great perfection of the third stage of the Emperor realm. She had been watching from high above, Yet she hadn't sensed the Time Empress's arrival, nor had she noticed any trace of the Time Empress's actions. One could imagine the level the Time Empress's realm had reached. Xiao Ye and the others didn't notice the Space Ancestor Empress standing beside them. The Space Ancestor Empress looked at Xiao Ye, who was holding the white-haired girl, and frowned. HMPH, fate has decreed that you and I are either mortal enemies or a match made in heaven, but you're too fickle. You already have so many beast girls, and now there's another one. She was very confident in her own abilities. But seeing Xiao Ye taken another beast girl, she felt inexplicably irritated. Suddenly, she was startled. Xiao Ye glanced in her direction. Impossible. He could see me? Xiao Ye sensed someone beside him, but glanced over and saw nothing. The Space Ancestor Empress was secretly astonished. Was this the perception of a human emperor, or the perception of the universe's power? A mere nobody at the Supreme Realm could actually sense her presence. It's no exaggeration to say that even if she were naked in front of an ordinary Emperor Realm expert, that Emperor Realm expert wouldn't be able to detect her. Yet Xiao Ye almost detected her. The human emperor is not to be underestimated. The Ancestor Empress abandoned her contempt and regarded Xiao Ye as her equal. Xiao Ye patted Bai Mao's head and laughed. Once the Xie family incident is over, I'll marry you as my 10th wife. From this moment on, you just need to hide behind the Xie family's camp, wash up and wait for me. Huangfu Xiangling was overjoyed and gave him a kiss. Okay. Xiao Ye used the Time-Space Palace to lock onto Bai Mao and granted her free access to the Time-Space Palace. If Bai Mao's life was in danger, the Time-Space Palace would promptly take her into its inner world. Putting Bai Mao down, Xiao Ye and Ziran looked towards the battlefield. At this moment, the Ouyang clan chief and the 15 quasi-emperor realm ferocious beast elders were considering retreating, losing interest in continuing the fight, and planned to return to the Ouyang imperial clan's territory to seal off their lives. However, the platinum gold gluttonous beasts transformed by the Zidao couple, along with 18 Z family quasi-emperor realm ferocious beasts, surrounded them. They had no intention of letting the Ouyang imperial clan go. The platinum gluttonous beast, Ouyang Dingshan, you didn't expect this, did you? You wanted to annihilate my Z family holy clan, but in the end, you've destroyed your own family. Now, the Ouyang imperial clan's fighting strength is less than 1/10 of what it used to be. Its foundation is completely destroyed, and what remains are just insignificant shrimps who can't cause any trouble. Are you happy with this result? The fiery red fire lizard beast roared. Zidao, it wasn't your Z family that defeated my Ouyang imperial clan. What are you so smug about? My Ouyang imperial clan's foundation is completely destroyed, but our top fighting force is still intact. With your numbers, you can't defeat us. Be sensible and let us leave, otherwise, if we fight to the death, other holy clans will definitely take advantage of the situation. It glanced warily at the starry sky beast high above, then looked anxiously at Xiao Ye in the distance. Chapter 552 The First Empress, it's my turn to make a move. He still had a trump card. But he wouldn't completely offend Xiao Ye's side until he reached that point. As the ruler of the Blue Star, Ouyang Dingshan wasn't wary of the Z family, but of Xiao Ye's side. This Xiao Ye, who seemed to have appeared out of nowhere, possessing a peak quasi-emperor realm expert with heaven-defying combat power, and an emperor realm powerhouse, he truly couldn't understand why such a powerful faction existed in the world. The platinum gluttonous beast sneered, Ouyang Dingshan, you're overthinking things. From the moment your Ouyang imperial clan launched a clan war against the Z family holy clan, our two clans were destined to be utter enemies. It was either you die or I'll live. The fiery red giant lizard dragon looked disdainful and ignored him. Looking at his own side, with 15 quasi-emperor realm ferocious beasts, he wasn't afraid of the Z family holy clan at all. Roar. If the Z family wants to kill, then kill them. Here I come. A whale shark beast with a body entirely of aquamarine blue appeared in the sky, exuding a majestic aura and emitting an ancient voice. The Ouyang imperial clan was overjoyed. Ancestor, you've finally arrived. Greetings, Ancestor. Ancestor, only our quasi-emperor level elders and clan leader remain. All the other imperial clan members have been slaughtered. We must fight them to the death. The Ouyang imperial clan's ancestor was a peak quasi-emperor level expert. He had now awakened from his slumber and joined the battle. The whale shark patriarch, staring at the remains of the Ouyang imperial clan members scattered on the ground, roared with fury, his eyes turning bloodshot. What are you all good for? You couldn't even break into the city gates of a mere holy clan, and instead sent yourselves all to hell. Useless. All useless. The platinum-colored gluttonous beast's expression turned grave, and it transmitted its voice. Senior little maid, can ye hold off two peak quasi-emperor-level beings? Given the current situation, we can only wait until we've slaughtered the other quasi-emperor-level beasts of the Ouyang Imperial clan before we can fully support you. The Starry Sky Beast roared, 2 pieces of trash. I alone can kill them. That old codger, and what about the Ouyang clan leader? Little whale shark and little lizard, come at me all at once. I hope you have some fighting power, enough to play with this maid. The 18 quasi-emperor-level beasts of the Xie family were stunned. This senior was so arrogant, so audacious, declaring he could kill them 2-on-1. The whale shark patriarch laughed in fury. A newly promoted quasi-emperor peak? Just a junior. Sometimes, youthful impetuosity can bring unbearable consequences. Little Dingshan, leave this junior to me. You just need to focus on killing the Xie family patriarch. With the Xie family patriarch dead, the rest of the Xie family won't be able to cause any trouble. The fire-type giant lizard dragon shook its head, its eyes filled with apprehension, and said, Patriarch, you're confused. We should return to our clan's territory and live in seclusion. The whale shark patriarch? He was enraged. Yang Dingshan, you've been the clan leader for too long, and your courage is dwindling. With this kind of courage, I'm considering replacing the clan leader when we get back. The giant lizard dragon. Ancestor, this matter concerns the survival of our clan. You're old and useless, just obey orders. After saying that, he ignored the whale shark ancestor's glare and looked directly at Xiao Ye in the distance, his eyes filled with apprehension. Xiao Ye, I know you're listening. I'll make a deal with you. If you let my clan retreat immediately, my clan will never have any further entanglements with the Xie family's holy clan, nor will we cause you any trouble. How about it? He clearly remembered that the other side had an Emperor Realm expert who could jump out at any moment. What is an Emperor Realm expert? Killing a quasi-Emperor Realm expert is like slaughtering a dog or a chicken. It's the pinnacle of combat power on Blue Star. The gods on Blue Star that he knew were at this level. Although he didn't know whether the god behind the Ouyang Imperial clan was stronger or weaker than the Emperor Realm expert behind Xiao Ye. But if an Emperor-level being were to become enraged, the Ouyang Imperial clan couldn't afford the price and consequences. All eyes were on Xiao Ye. Now, the situation was in Xiao Ye's hands. If it were an ordinary Supreme Realm cultivator, facing the gaze of over 30 quasi-Emperor Realm beasts, they would have been drenched in cold sweat and their legs would have trembled. But Xiao Ye was no ordinary person. His deep eyes remained calm, and a cold smile appeared on his lips as he said, Negotiation? Your Ouyang Imperial clan dares to negotiate with me? What a joke. A family destined for destruction, still considering itself an Imperial clan? His voice was calm, yet it resonated throughout the entire area. All the Saint Realm cultivators from the Xie family present were shocked. Young Master is awesome, well said. Young Master is mighty, right. A family on the verge of destruction, a dead man, has no right to negotiate. Ha, Imperial clan? It's already a castle in the air. They felt boundless offer Xiao Ye. On the Ouyang Imperial clan's side, the 15 ferocious beasts jumped up and down in anger, their beards bristling and eyes wide with rage. This little bastard, isn't he afraid of hurting his back with his boasting? Clan leader, with our ancestor here, we can just sweep through. That's right, I'll burn this little bastard's soul to the ground. The fiery red giant lizard dragon, its face dark, said, Calm down. Xiao Ye, my clan has no irreconcilable hatred with you. Why are you pressing this so relentlessly, insisting on a fight to the death? The white gold gluttonous beast's lips twitched. He was the clan leader of the purple clan, yet Yang Dingshan completely ignored him, going to discuss matters with his son-in-law. Good heavens, in Yang Dingshan's eyes, his purple clan was inferior to Xiao Ye? Xiao Ye sneered, Little maid, go straight for it and kill these ferocious beasts. Leave no one alive. After killing these trash, immediately head to the Ouyang Imperial clan's territory and bombard it indiscriminately from all sides. Today, the Ouyang Imperial clan will be destroyed. The white-haired girl with twin ponytails jumped out, stood on a large rock, one hand on her hip and the other pointing at the giant lizard dragon, and said disdainfully, You little lizard, you're such a coward. Is this what you call the Ouyang Imperial clan? I think you should change your name to the Ouyang Coward clan. HMPH, You dare to ambush this grandma? My husband can kill you chickens and dogs with a single order. Ziran looked at her smug disciple speechlessly. She still hadn't learned her lesson from her death. This tendency to stick her neck out still couldn't be changed. Boom. In the sky, the terrifying and fierce aura of the star beast erupted, and the heavens and earth trembled. The aura of the peak of the mythical quasi-emperor realm was fully released. You scoundrel, prepare to die. She charged towards the giant lizard dragon in an instant. A deafening roar, like a planetary collision, erupted as the star, the avatar of the cosmic beast, crashed into the fire lizard dragon. The fire lizard dragon was slammed into the earth's crust, a protective shield appearing on its body, a crack appearing in the shield. It didn't die. Its eyes bloodshot, it leaped onto the ground, laughing maniacally. He. You courted death, forcing me to unleash my ultimate attack. Xiao Ye, I'll let you taste the pain of losing your loved ones. It raised its forelimbs, and above it appeared two pale-faced, bewildered old men and women. Xiao Ye was startled, his pupils contracting sharply. These two old women looked remarkably like Yun Bing and Yun Zai. They must be his parents-in-law. The space ancestor empress, Aoshi, beamed with joy. She finally had her chance. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 553 Xiao Ye, I've come to exchange the hostages. The fiery red giant lizard dragon laughed maniacally. Xiao Ye, according to our clan's investigation, you are a person of great loyalty and righteousness. In a friendly camp, this kind of character is worthy of praise and admiration. But in a life or death battle, this becomes your weakness. I advise you to retreat immediately. Otherwise, I can crush these two old men with a flick of my wrist. He was gambling that Xiao Ye would agree. The starry sky behemoth stopped its attack. At her level, even a slight aftershock of the battle could kill the two weak old men who were only at the great venerable realm. The two old men looked bewildered. Weren't we imprisoned? How did we get here? Who is that young man? We don't have this relative, do we? The two had lost their previous memories, and moreover, they had never seen Xiao Ye before. Whoosh, whoosh. A golden light gate appeared, and Yun Zai and Yun Bing emerged, their eyes filled with longing, their deep yearning evident in their expressions. Father, mother, we're here. Father, mother, you've suffered. They cried out in anguish. Xiao Ye patted the two on the shoulders and said, it's alright. The Yang Imperial clan is already a defeated dog. As long as we don't push them too far, they won't cut off their own escape route. He used his divine sense to make his voice resound throughout the entire area, saying, Yang Dingshan, hand over those two elders, and I'll let you go. How about it? The platinum glutton was anxious. If they were let go now, they would be difficult to kill later. All of the Yang Imperial clan's top combat power was still intact, and they would definitely make a comeback in the future. At that time, they would definitely become a huge scourge. At this moment, the one controlling the body was the future Gu Qingcheng. Her voice came from the time-space hall. Xiao Ye, in 10 minutes outside, 2 days will have passed in the time-space hall. I've almost recovered and can use my talent skill to temporarily increase my realm again. You argue with Yang Dingshan for a while and wait for me to recover. I'm at the peak of the first stage of the Emperor realm. I'm 100% confident that I can save them unharmed from the hands of the peak quasi-Emperor realm ferocious beast. Xiao Ye nodded. In the distance, the fiery red giant lizard dragon roared madly. I've changed my mind. 10,000 years. We'll retreat to our clan's territory and live in seclusion for 10,000 years. You can't come seeking revenge. After 10,000 years, I'll release these two old men. Xiao Ye, you have no choice. If you don't agree, I'll strangle them right now. Once they reach their clan's territory, they would be protected by the 5 elements gods. Even if Xiao Ye had an Emperor Realm expert behind him, coming to the Yang clan's territory would be futile. The Emperor Realm expert behind Xiao Ye was clearly a novice, unable to sustain a prolonged battle. Otherwise, he would have already wiped out the Yang Imperial clan. But the 5 elements gods behind the Yang Imperial clan were ancient gods who had lived for hundreds of thousands of years, veteran Emperor Realm experts. They were incomparable to that novice Emperor Realm expert. 10,000 years? Yun Bing and Yun Zai were furious. 10,000 years have passed, Our parents will be long dead. Why would he need to release them? Even with a treasure to prolong their lives, they'd be exhausted after 10,000 years. They wouldn't live long even if they returned to us. Xiao Ye pinched their cheeks and said gently, Sister Yunbing, Sister Yunzai, don't be anxious. I have a way. After he finished speaking, he said to the fiery red giant lizard dragon, Clan Shifu Yang, I have a plan that you might be interested in. The fiery red giant lizard dragon said warily, don't try anything funny, or these two old people will surely die. Xiao Ye said seriously, release those two old people, and I'll be your hostage. I'll go back to the Ouyang Imperial clan with you and stay there for 10,000 years. How about it? The fiery red giant lizard dragon was startled, then overjoyed, and laughed out loud, ha ha ha, Xiao Ye, you really are a good man who values loyalty and righteousness. I admire you for not changing your mind even at this time. Okay, I agree. If you come to me alone, I'll release these two old men. I, the patriarch of the Ouyang Imperial clan, still have that much credibility. In his eyes, Xiao Ye was merely a low-level ant, nothing more than a supreme realm cultivator. If he could control Xiao Ye, then the quasi-emperor realm Starry Sky Beast and emperor realm Killen behind Xiao Ye would certainly not act rashly. By imprisoning Xiao Ye back to the clan's territory, coupled with the protection of the five elements gods, his Ouyang Imperial clan would live peacefully for the next 10,000 years. With Xiao Ye's loyal and righteous nature, if his Ouyang Imperial clan could win him over and use various temptations to keep him within the clan, then his Ouyang Imperial clan would surely become the overlord of Blue Star again in the future. Xiao Ye nodded, then set off, walking step by step towards the enemy camp. Xie ran, Bai Mao, Yunzai, Yunbing. The four women immediately grabbed Xiao Ye and hugged him tightly. No, you can't go. What will we do if you leave? Yes, husband, you haven't married me yet. Xiao Ye, I won't allow you to go. Even if father and mother can't be saved, you can't go. That's right, father and mother will understand us. The four women spoke firmly, determined not to let him leave. Xiao Ye's lips twitched. Yunbing, Yunzai, you two are truly filial sons. If I don't go to exchange the hostages, your father and mother-in-law will surely die. Can you really bear that outcome? Yunzai and Yunbing looked grief-stricken, their voices trembling as they said, we've already lost our parents once, we can't lose you too. Yes, our parents are important, but it's a fact that they're in danger, we can't change that. But you, as our husband, are still safe. We can't just watch you fall into danger. We can ensure your safety, so you can't go. Xiao Ye was moved and said softly, don't worry, I won't die. He secretly transmitted his voice, I have the Time-Space Palace protecting me, I can return to the Time-Space Palace at any time, and I can break free from Wu Yangdingshan's confinement at any time. So, I won't be in any danger. Do you understand? He raised his hand and ruffled the two women's hair, then kissed them on the cheek. Gu Qingchang's voice transmission entered the minds of the four women, saying, let your husband go. He has an emperor-level defense and counter-damage restriction that I crafted. Even if Clan Shifu Yang wants to attack Xiao Ye, your husband will be safe. The golden protective shield that appeared on the black gold glut not long ago was an emperor-level defense restriction I crafted. I've placed more than 10 of these defense restrictions on your husband, on his hands, legs, shoulders, head, buttocks, genitals, everywhere on his body, without any blind spots. Xiao Ye was shocked. How come he didn't know he had this? When did Gu Qingchang set it up? Even on his genitals. Was it during their exercise? Upon hearing this, Xie ran, Bai Mao, Yunzai, and Yunbing immediately changed their minds. Yunzai and Yunbing kicked Xiao Ye in the buttocks, sending him flying tens of thousands of meters towards the Ouyang clan's camp. Xiao Ye, may you have a safe journey, they shouted. Losing his balance, Xiao Ye felt a cold wind sting his face. His face darkened as he thought to himself, that expression changed so quickly. When we get back, I'll punish you severely and ravage you under my weight. Chapter 554 The First Empress is secretly delighted. The Space Ancestor Empress, clad in a golden robe emblazoned with mysterious runes, floated behind Xiao Ye. Her gaze towards him grew increasingly appreciative. The human emperor, loyal and righteous, risked his life to rescue the Beast Girl's parents. In the Beast Girl's era, where humanity was scarce, such loyalty and character were rare and precious. Only such a character could have been chosen by the will of heaven and earth to be the human emperor. Seeing Xiao Ye's face darken and the beast girls behind him change their minds, a smile played on her lips. Perhaps becoming the human emperor's wife wouldn't be so bad. Xiao Ye, his face grim, remained connected to the time-space palace, ready to escape at any moment. He traced a beautiful parabola in the sky, about to fall into the enemy camp. The Platinum Glutton and the Quasi-Emperor realm members of the Purple Clan immediately intervened. A gentle force enveloped Xiao Ye, pulling him back. The Platinum Glutton said anxiously, "Son-in-law, do you really want to be imprisoned by Ouyang Sanquan for 10,000 years? Come back quickly. The Ouyang Sanquan clan has long lost its humanity. Perhaps after you're captured, they'll use Daogu to bewitch your mind and make you their lackey. Even after 10,000 years, when you emerge, you won't be the real you." The 15 Quasi-Emperor level ferocious beasts of the Xie family also said anxiously, "That's right, young master, we won't just watch you be captured by Ouyang Sanquan. We killed over 100 of Ouyang Dingshan's direct descendants, including his son, grandson, and great-grandson. If you're captured, who knows what methods they'll use to torture you." The Space Ancestor Empress frowned, somewhat annoyed. The human emperor was about to be in danger, and she would soon be able to intervene, save him from peril, and gain his trust. Once she gained the human emperor's trust, getting close to him would be much easier, and becoming his wife would be much more efficient. "And then you guys jumped in to stop me," Xiao Ye said helplessly. "Father-in-law and mother-in-law, please stop and let me exchange the hostages. The ones Ouyang Dingshan is holding are my father-in-law and mother-in-law. I have to save them. If Ouyang Dingshan were holding you instead, I would do the same. I trust Ouyang Dingshan's character, he won't do anything to me." Ha ha ha. The fiery red giant lizard dragon laughed heartily. "Brother Xiao Ye is right. I, Ouyang Dingshan, have excellent character and would never stoop to such low-level methods. Zidao, I truly envy you for having such a good son-in-law. It's a pity all my offspring are dead, otherwise I would have given my daughter and granddaughter to Brother Xiao." The platinum gluttonous dragon glared at the fiery red giant lizard dragon and said coldly, "You have the nerve to say you have good character? Be careful you don't bite your tongue while lying through your teeth." Then, he said to Xiao Ye, "Son-in-law, I won't stop you from risking your life to save your beast mother's parents. But I have a condition. You exchange hostages in 3 minutes. In those 3 minutes, you and Ziren go back to the clan and leave an heir for Ma Zidao. How about it?" "Xiao Ye? Space Ancestor Empress?" Ziren blushed and said irritably, "Father, please believe Xiao Ye. He'll be fine. Do you think he's like you? 3 minutes? Even an hour or 2 isn't enough for him." "By Jin Teodi," he said somewhat awkwardly. 2 hours? That long? Sorry, I was narrow-minded. Son-in-law, how about you exchange hostages with Ouyang Sanquan in 2 hours? In those 2 hours, you and Ziren go back to the clan and leave an heir for us? Otherwise, 10,000 years later, when Ziren is old, it will be too late, and it will be difficult to leave an heir." A group of Z family Quasi-Emperor level ferocious beasts looked at Bai Jin Teodi with surprise and strange expressions. No wonder the clan leader and his wife hadn't had any new children, only a daughter named Ziran. It turns out the clan leader had a problem in that area. 3 minutes? A normal person should last at least 10 minutes. Bai Jin Teodi was even more embarrassed. In fact, he hadn't even lasted 3 minutes, and saying 3 minutes was an exaggeration. But this concerned the continuation of the Z family's holy lineage, so he had to speak, saying, "Son-in-law, what's your decision?" Everyone's gaze turned to the extraordinary young man who had stopped in the sky. Ouyang Dingshan and his wife, transformed into a fiery red giant lizard dragon, watched from there, not in a hurry. The Space Ancestor Empress looked at Xiao Ye with arrogant eyes, her gaze full of curiosity. "Human Emperor, my future husband, before exchanging hostages, why don't you have a reproductive exercise with the Z family's daughter first?" Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Xiao Ye remained expressionless and said, "Father-in-law, I grant your request. Ouyang Dingshan, please wait for me for 2 hours. After 2 hours, I will exchange hostages with you." The fiery red giant lizard dragon nodded, "No problem, don't mention 2 hours, I can wait 2 days. Don't worry, once you join my clan, I will not mistreat you." He would do his best to befriend this young man who valued loyalty and had a protector at the Emperor realm. Although his offspring were dead, for the future of the Ouyang Imperial clan, he had to endure humiliation and bide his time. This was the best choice, But if there were a better option, he would kill Xiao Ye first to avenge his deceased children. Xiao Ye flew towards Ziran, landing beside her, whose face was flushed. The pure and innocent goddess Ziran rolled her eyes. Xiao Ye, you really want to do those things with me at this time? It was just a few days ago, and we didn't take any precautions. If we could, we would have done it already. Wanting to leave offspring for the family, how can such a thing be accomplished in a short time? Xiao Ye reached out and pinched her pure and pretty face, and laughed. Your father has already made a big promise, so I have to give him face, right? Otherwise, he'll have made a pointless promise. Ziran spat, a hint of excitement deep in her beautiful eyes, and outwardly refused, no. Xiao Ye directly pulled her into the Golden Light Gate. The Space Ancestor Empress was blocked outside by the Golden Light Gate, and her proud and beautiful face darkened. She wanted to see the human emperor and learn some knowledge. But now she couldn't learn anything. Everyone present looked at each other. Time passed quickly, and 2 hours passed in no time. 10 days had passed in the Time and Space Hall, and the future Gu King Cheng had long since recovered. Xiao Ye and Ziran walked out through the Golden Light Gate. Xiao Ye looked somewhat tired, while Ziran's complexion was rosy and radiant. Bai Jin Teodi chuckled upon seeing this. Ha ha ha, good, son-in-law, do whatever you want. We won't stop you anymore. Good lad, it really takes 2 hours, I'm so envious. Xiao Ye flew back towards Zhu Yangdingshan. The Space Ancestor Empress followed behind, scrutinizing him carefully, a hint of smugness in her eyes. Finally it's my turn to act. Seeing this, the two old men said, young man, we're both old bones, you don't need to come to save us. You're still young, you have a long road ahead of you. Xiao Ye flew directly above the fiery red lizard and said, Clan Shifu Yang, release them. Chapter 555 The First Empress, it's time for me to make my appearance. Bang! 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 The fiery red giant lizard dragon was overjoyed, raising its hand to place over 100 quasi-emperor-level peak-level binding restrictions on Xiao Ye's body. Xiao Ye felt unable to move, every cell in his body was imprisoned. The Space Ancestor Empress saw this, and a look of joy appeared on her proud and beautiful face. Good, put on more restrictions. The more the human emperor is imprisoned, the more favor and trust she can gain when she rescues him later. Xiao Ye said expressionlessly, Clan Shifu Yang, you should release them now. Ha ha ha. The fiery red giant lizard dragon used its power to gently push the two old men away, letting them fall into the Xie family's camp. Since I promised you, I won't go back on my word. I, the dignified clan chief of an imperial clan, still have this much credibility. Zidao, check if those two old men are safe. I'm taking your good son-in-law back. The Platinum Teodi used its divine sense to investigate and confirmed that the two old men were not trapped by Yangdingshan. Xiao Ye, your in-laws are alright. But, do we really have to wait 10,000 years to meet again? He looked conflicted. Xiao Ye smiled and said, of course. As long as my in-laws don't find another man for Sister Ziran, I'll still be Sister Ziran's husband when I come out 10,000 years later. Ziran, can you wait for me for 10,000 years? Bai Jin Teodi sighed helplessly, sigh, 10,000 years, that's too long. Ziran rolled her eyes. Xiao Ye, are you really going to play the part completely? Or do you really want me to wait 10,000 years? We've only been together for a month. You haven't even favored me a few times yet. Humph, once King Chang saves you, I don't want to wait 10,000 years. She feigned a grim expression and snorted, Xiao Ye, go ahead. 10,000 years from now, I'll be an old auntie. Be careful I don't cheat on you during those 10,000 years. And your other 9 beast girls, and that unmarried white-haired one, be careful they don't cheat on you. HMPH, 10,000 years from now, you'll come back and be a happy father. Go ahead. Xiao Ye. This must be just angry talk, right? Sister Ziran wouldn't really want to cheat on me, would she? Xiao Ye, don't worry, there are plenty of beautiful women in the world. If you need them, I'll find you 1,000, 10,000, so you can have a night of revelry and music every night. I guarantee you won't lack women. The fiery red lizard dragon laughed. A shadow flashed in the eyes of the whale shark beast beside him. He would definitely target Xiao Ye when they returned. This person, in league with the Xie family, wiped out 99% of the Ouyang imperial clan. He'd simply turn Xiao Ye into a puppet, making him a mindless living dead. A murderous aura rose in the hearts of the 15 quasi-emperor-level ferocious beasts. HMPH, you think you can go back alive? Dream on. The hatred of our clan's annihilation is irreconcilable. When we get back, we'll drag your soul out and burn it like a sky lantern. As for your body, we'll slice it apart piece by piece and torture you to death. Clan leader, we should go. Ancestor, let's go back and immediately seal off the mountain and live in seclusion. Let's try to reproduce more offspring and restore the Yang family to its dominant position. The 15 quasi-emperor-level ferocious beasts suggested. The whale shark behemoth nodded. Yang Dingshan, let's go. The fiery red giant lizard dragon directly took Xiao Ye into its dark ring world. With a wave of its hand, it said, return to the clan, seal off the mountain. At this moment, a golden light gate appeared, and the future Gu Qingcheng controlled her body and walked out from it, her aura containing imperial might. With a boom, she directly descended into the Yang camp. Using the heaven and earth cage, she directly trapped the 17 quasi-emperor-level ferocious beasts of the Yang camp. 3 seconds, she only had 3 seconds. The fiery red giant lizard dragon's expression changed drastically. You've entered a weakened state, haven't you? The higher the realm of a destiny-type template, the longer the weakened state lasts. This Hangzhou Empress, radiating imperial might, gave him a strong sense of oppression, making it hard for him to breathe. The other 16 quasi-emperor-level ferocious beasts were shocked. Emperor Realm? Another Emperor Realm? What do you want to do? We have no grudge against you, why are you trapping us? Future Gu Qingcheng's expression was indifferent. Shut up. With a wave of her hand, a terrifying energy so powerful that everyone felt their hearts trembled cleaved towards the 16 quasi-emperor-level ferocious beasts around her. With a loud bang, the power of the first stage of the Emperor Realm at its peak erupted directly. The 16 quasi-emperor-level ferocious beasts instantly turned into dust, their souls shattered. In less than a second, they were all annihilated, dead. The fiery red giant lizard dragon's eyes were bloodshot. Dead, all dead. The Yang Imperial clan only has me left as their fighting force. Xiao Ye, you're really something, you never intended to let us go, did you? I'll drag you down with me even if I die. Future Gu Qingcheng didn't want to waste words. She had only 2 seconds left. After 2 seconds, she would enter a weakened state. Within those 2 seconds, she had to rescue Xiao Ye. Boom. She mobilized the origin of the rules of destiny, and the original form of the rules emerged in the endless void, shimmering with mysterious and unpredictable light, reflecting the brilliance of future Gu Qingcheng. A rule slash of emperor level, surface level perfection, was unleashed from the future empress's hand, slashing towards the fiery red lizard dragon. Boom. A loud bang. The entire world changed color. The fiery red lizard dragon's expression changed drastically. He sensed a life or death crisis. But when the rule slash touched him, a golden defensive shield appeared on his body, easily obliterating the slash. The golden defensive shield shone brilliantly, without a single crack appearing. I'm not dead. Ha ha ha. I'm actually not dead. The fiery red giant lizard dragon laughed wildly. Future Gu Qingcheng's face darkened, and within a second, she unleashed over 10 consecutive emperor-level perfected rule strikes. Boom boom boom. These rule strikes could easily destroy a small world. But striking the fiery red giant lizard dragon's golden defensive shield was like mud thrown into the ocean, not even causing a ripple. Future Gu Qingcheng's expression turned extremely pale, her beautiful eyes shifting uncertainly. She only had 1 second left. If she couldn't rescue Xiao Ye within a second, he would be taken away and imprisoned for 10,000 years. Ziran, Yunzai, Yunbing, and Bai Mao's faces changed drastically, turning deathly pale. Emperor-level Gu Qingcheng couldn't break through Yang Dingshan's defense. How could this be? Could it be that Xiao Ye was really going to be captured and only released after 10,000 years? Would they have to remain widows for 10,000 years? Thinking of this, the 4 women's faces turned pale, devoid of any color. Young Xie and Yunbing's legs went weak, collapsing to the ground, their eyes unfocused, murmuring absently, Xiao Ye, I regret it. I don't want you to save our parents. I can't live without you. Xiao Ye, you must be alright. The fiery red giant lizard dragon laughed wildly, looking at the future Gu Qingcheng with disdain, saying, for these 10,000 years, Xiao Ye belongs to me. Don't waste your energy. This is a defensive barrier set up by the ancient gods of my clan. You can't break it. The future Gu Qingcheng was in a terrible mood, already guessing that this golden defensive barrier was a second or even third stage Emperor Realm barrier, and no matter how she bombarded it, she couldn't break it. The Space Ancestor Empress's face showed joy. Good, good, good. This is great. The Galaxy Empress, can finally make my official appearance and save the human emperor. A beauty saves a hero, he should repay me with his body, right? Chapter 556 The Empress of Hangzhou dies. At this moment, Gu Qingcheng, in her spiritual sea, saw the disadvantage of old Gu outside and her expression was extremely anxious. Old Gu only had 1 second left. After 1 second, he would fall into a weakened state, becoming an ant at the mercy of others. Her husband had been captured and taken to the enemy's small world. There was no way to save him. Old Gu, you traveled back from the future, you must have a way, right? You don't need to worry about my body, I can accept whatever the consequences. Old Gu, I beg you, you must rescue my husband. Her voice was choked with sobs, and her soul trembled. This Empress of Hangzhou felt for the first time that things were so difficult, watching helplessly as her beloved was captured. Old Gu's voice immediately rang out, I can indeed use transcendent divine powers to annihilate the opponent in an instant. But after using such a power, your body will collapse instantly, making it difficult to repair or rebuild. Even our souls will be affected, rejected by the very source of the rules. At best, you'll fall into eternal slumber, at worst, your soul will shatter and be annihilated, with no chance of reincarnation or resurrection. Hearing such severe and irreversible consequences, Gu Qingcheng replied firmly without hesitation, as long as my husband is safe, even if I die a horrible death, I'm willing. Old Gu, no matter the cost, you must rescue my husband. A poignant smile appeared on her stunningly beautiful face. Had she only been with her husband for less than a week before being separated from him forever? A bitter smile touched her lips. Old Gu's voice was heavy, I understand. Outside. Ha. Emperor Realm, so what? What can you do to me? I'll just stand here and let you hit me, see if you can hurt me even a fraction? The fiery red lizard, seeing its golden protective shield as solid as a rock, remaining unmoved by the barrage of attacks, burst into maniacal laughter. Its fiery red eyes were filled with mockery and disdain. Before, it had regarded the Emperor Realm as a high and untouchable taboo. Now, it had changed its mind. The Emperor Realm was not invincible, it could be killed. The fiery red lizard continued to sneer, a half-baked Emperor Realm cultivator who is temporarily promoted thinks he can destroy my Yang Imperial clan? Wishful thinking. Future Gu Qingcheng's face showed determination, don't speak too confidently, so you won't die so embarrassingly. Yang Dingshan, it's your honor to die by my hand. Boom. A supreme aura suddenly erupted from her body. In an instant, the stars in the sky shone brightly, all the stars resonating and releasing dazzling light. It was daytime, but the stars in the sky were brighter and more dazzling than the sun. On Blue Star, all attributes and all types of rules and origins bowed down, seemingly paying homage to the future Gu Qingcheng in the central domain of the rules realm. The Space Ancestor Empress's expression changed drastically, she felt her body imprisoned, her divine sense restrained, and she couldn't mobilize the spatial origin in the slightest. Not only her, but all life present was imprisoned, all life on Blue Star was unable to move. All the gods were unable to move an inch at this moment. The supreme cosmic laws suddenly projected their phantom images onto the future Gu Qingcheng. The future Gu Qingcheng walked unhurriedly to the fiery red giant lizard. The fiery red giant lizard was completely imprisoned. And the smile on its face froze. But it wasn't worried, it still had a golden protective shield given by the five elements gods. In his eyes, the five elements gods were the strongest among the gods. The Yang Imperial clan was the overlord of Blue Star, and those who had always silently supported the clan must also be the strongest gods. But when a crack sound rang out, Yang Dingshan's confidence shattered in an instant. He saw Gu Qingcheng, her long black hair flowing in the wind, her gaze sweeping across the world like a true empress. As her proud and graceful figure stepped onto the golden protective shield, the shield shattered, dissipating into countless starlight. The fiery red giant lizard dragon, seeing the Hangzhou Empress so close before him, felt as if he were gazing at the vast starry sky, peering into the highest reaches of the universe. As if unable to look directly at her, his dragon body instantly transformed into starlight, vanishing from head to toe into the air. How is this possible? I can't even muster the slightest will to resist. No, I don't want to die. I still want to revive the Ouyang Imperial clan. I bear a blood feud, how can I die? Extreme terror was revealed in his fiery red eyes. His words were filled with boundless resentment. But what use was it? He stared wide-eyed, unable to stop the annihilation of his divine body. Half a second later, the fiery red lizard dragon's body was completely obliterated, leaving only its head. A pair of eyes on the HUD glared fiercely, and half a second later, they too turned into starlight and dissipated into the air. The body of the future Gu Qingcheng also turned into specks of starlight and disappeared into the air. Starting with a pair of long legs, then the torso, then the arms, then the neck, and finally the head. After the legs were obliterated, the future Gu Qingcheng's trembling hands grasped the pitch-black ring that was silently floating in front of him. Her lower body was completely obliterated. Using her immense power, she searched the dark ring and found Xiao Ye, who was unconscious. She pulled him out. At this moment, most of her body had vanished, leaving only her proud chest. In these final moments, she touched Xiao Ye's face with a delicate hand, her bright eyes filled with tenderness, her pupils reflecting only his image. 2 streams of tears slid down the beautiful face of the future Gu Qingcheng. "Husband, never again," she murmured softly. In his unconscious state, Xiao Ye seemed to be having a nightmare, his brows furrowed, his face contorted in pain. When that delicate hand touched his face, he suddenly felt at peace, his brows gradually relaxing, his expression returning to calm. Hearing that soft whisper, Xiao Ye groggily opened his eyes, looking around hazily, and yawned. Ugh! What happened? When he saw his surroundings, his expression changed drastically. He cried out, "Sister Qingcheng, what happened to your body? Sister Qingcheng, don't cry." He felt a heart-wrenching pain and said in a panic. At this moment, the body of the future Gu Qingcheng had vanished, leaving only the neck. Even the jade hand that had touched Xiao Ye's cheek had turned into starlight and dissipated into the air. The future Gu Qingcheng suddenly smiled, but it was a very tragic and desolate smile. "From now on, don't think about me, and don't think about Xiao Gu husband, you must live well." Xiao Ye had a feeling that if he didn't pull Gu Qingcheng back now, they would be separated forever. He lunged forward, wanting to embrace that peerless beauty's face with both hands. But when he lunged forward, that head had already turned into starlight and dissipated into the air. "No!" Xiao Ye roared, his mood worse than ever before, his heart aching as if being stabbed with needles. Chapter 557. The First Empress makes her official appearance. With the annihilation of Gu Qingcheng's physical body, all life on Blue Star returned to normal, and all the fundamental rules of the planet returned to their former state. Blue Star remained unchanged. However, some people were gone. The platinum-tailed Yu waved its hand and said, "All soldiers of the Xie family, follow me to raise the Ouyang Imperial clan's territory, leave no survivors, eradicate them completely." Boom! The ferocious beasts transformed from the Xie family members joyfully charged forward with the platinum-tailed Yi. But Ziran, Yunbing, and Yunzai were not happy at all. The 3 women quickly went to Xiao Ye, who was kneeling dejectedly on the ground. Seeing his pained expression, they anxiously asked, "Xiao Ye, where's Qingcheng? Where did she go?" Xiao Ye opened his palm, revealing 2 small, decaying points of light. Upon closer inspection, these 2 points of light, when magnified, were both soul forms resembling Gu Qingcheng. One was mature and elegant, while the other had only a rough, superficial charm. He cried out in anguish, "Sister Qingcheng, she's here. Not only has her soul fallen into deep slumber and is collapsing, but it's also being rejected by the rules of Blue Star. I'm afraid it won't be long before she'll die completely." Ziran, Yunbing, and Yunzai panicked, saying in disbelief, "How could this be? Qingcheng was perfectly fine just now. How could she be dying so soon?" A bitter smile appeared on Xiao Ye's lips. "Sister Qingcheng probably used some secret technique that's forbidden by heaven and earth to save me. Now she's not only about to die, but she's also being rejected by heaven and earth, rejected by the laws of nature. But she clearly didn't need to come to save me, and she shouldn't have. With the time-space palace protecting her, Yang Dingshan can't do anything to me. I can return to the time-space palace at any time, and then teleport to the Xie family through the golden portal, escaping Yang Dingshan's control." Ziran, Yunbing, and Yunzai looked sorrowful. "Qingcheng, she's dead already? Qingcheng married Xiao Ye less than a week ago. Qingcheng, did she love Xiao Ye so much that she could face life and death for him? and make sacrifices without hesitation? The three women thought for a moment, wondering if they would do the same. After a moment, they answered in their hearts, yes. A look of struggle appeared on Xiao Ye's face as he anxiously took out all the soul treasures, body reconstruction treasures, enlightenment tea, and soul-capturing beads he possessed from his system space. When his trembling hands approached the two soul bodies with the soul treasures and body reconstruction treasures, the speed at which the soul bodies collapsed increased more than tenfold. Startled, Xiao Ye quickly put everything away. Then he put the two soul bodies into the soul space of the soul-capturing beads. In the soul space, isolated from the rules of the outside world Blue Star, it was the most suitable place to nurture soul bodies. It was a reward given by the system and did not belong to Blue Star. The speed at which the souls of Gu Qingcheng and Gu Qingcheng collapsed was reduced to a minimum. But even at this speed, it wouldn't be long before the two women's dormant soul bodies would still completely collapse and die. If complete collapse is true death, then this current state of defeat and slumber is a state of feigned death. But feigned death is also a form of death. The difference between feigned death and true death is only one word, as thin as a hair's breadth. Xiao Ye's face was ashen, and he said with extreme guilt, Sister Ziren, Sister Yangxi, Sister Yunbing, I'm sorry, I didn't protect Sister Qingcheng well. Ziren burst into tears, no, you didn't do anything wrong to us, but the person you should apologize to is Qingcheng. You owe her too much, you can never repay her in your lifetime. Yangxi and Yunbing sobbed softly. Xiao Ye looked at the two souls inside the soul-capturing pearl with self-reproach and guilt, and said sorrowfully, Sister Qingcheng, I'm sorry. A peerless and beautiful figure appeared behind everyone, and said with a complicated expression, don't shout, they can't hear you. Human Emperor, if you are a man, don't let difficulties trip you up, overcome all difficulties, and find a way to save them. Apologize while they are conscious. Who? Xiao Ye and the three women turned around. They saw a peerless and beautiful woman. This person possessed imposing stature, a tall and slender figure, and a stunningly beautiful, crystalline face. Standing there, he seemed to be the center of this space, making everything else pale in comparison. It's you. Xiao Ye gently put the soul-capturing pearl into his pocket, extremely wary. Ziran, Yunbing, and Yunzai also assumed fighting stances. A bitter smile appeared on the lips of the Space Ancestor Empress, who said softly, you don't need to be hostile towards me. Let me introduce myself. I am the will of the origin of the spatial rules, born hundreds of thousands of years ago, carrying the destiny of an empress, the Space Ancestor Empress of the Milky Way. And you, Xiao Ye, are the human emperor of Blue Star, carrying the destiny of a human emperor. We are allies. I witnessed everything that happened to you, and I wanted to help at the last moment. But the Empress of Hangzhou's cosmic divine power rendered me unable to move, and I was powerless to help. Sensing the Ancestor Empress's sincere words, Xiao Ye and the three women relaxed. Me, the human emperor of Blue Star? Xiao Ye pointed to himself incredulously. The primordial empress nodded. Yes, you carry the same imperial destiny as me. You are the human emperor. The human emperor will one day lead Blue Star to rise and join the ranks of the great races of the universe. And I, the Empress of the Milky Way, will also be the leader of Blue Star's rise. Ziran suddenly asked, Primordial Empress, do you have a way to save Qingcheng? Why has Qingcheng become two souls, one 100 years older and the other 100 years younger? A look of longing appeared in Xiao Ye's eyes. A glint of light flashed in the Primordial Empress's arrogant eyes. These two souls should be the same person, but the one 100 years older has traces of time flowing through it. If I'm not mistaken, these are two souls from different time periods. One is from the present, and the other is from 100 years in the future. Both souls can control their bodies and are completely unaffected by their body's rejection. Xiao Ye and the three women were shocked. They had assumed Gu Qingcheng's soul had shattered and split into two. But they hadn't expected that both were complete, representing two different time periods. Yangxi suddenly realized, no wonder Qingcheng changed so much during that time, becoming so charming and mature, using countless methods to seduce Xiao Ye, transforming from a novice into a seasoned lover. So, it was Qingcheng from 100 years in the future causing trouble. That seasoned lover Qingcheng returned from 100 years in the future. Xiao Ye's expression was complex. He had always sensed that sometimes Gu Qingcheng was full of resentment towards him, sometimes overflowing with malice. It was as if he had wronged Gu Qingcheng. It turned out that Gu Qingchang from 100 years in the future had returned to the present, and the older Gu Qingchang was controlling the body. The white-haired man darted out from behind the crowd, grasping the first Empress's jade hands with both, excitedly saying, "Senior, when I was dying, did you save me? Thank you so much. Can you save Sister Qingchang now?" Chapter 558 The Future Empress is Alive? Xiao Ye and the others turned their gazes towards him, filled with fervent admiration. It was as if a ray of light had pierced through a world devoid of sunlight. Seeing their expectant looks, the Space Ancestor Empress shook her head expressionlessly. "No, I didn't save you. You should have noticed the traces of time remaining on this white-haired girl with twin ponytails. It was my sister, the Time Empress, who intervened. Their situation is special. I couldn't save them." The Time Empress? Xiao Ye was hearing this title for the first time. Is she another deity? The Space Ancestor Empress nodded. That's right, the Time Empress. She is the will born from the origin of time, a time deity who controls the origin of the time rules of Blue Star. Everyone's pupils contracted. The battle between the Xie family and the Yang Imperial clan was actually being watched by three deities, the Five Elements deity, the Space deity, and the Time deity behind the Yang Imperial clan. The primordial Empress of Space said, "This struggle between hidden families is the largest war in the history of the Rules Realm, concerning a change in the overt structure of the Rules Realm. More than 80% of the gods returning from the starry sky are watching this place. This is just the beginning. The Five Elements gods covet the destiny attribute rule source behind the Xie family, as do many other gods. If the Five Elements gods are not punished, I'm afraid that in the future, those weaker gods, or those whose rule sources haven't yet been given a controller, will be frantically snatched up by Emperor-level rule source gods." Xiao Ye's face was grim. "This is a struggle between gods, yet it led to the death of my beloved. The Five Elements gods, they deserve to die. Princess Empress, where's the Time Empress? I want to find her." Ziran, Yunzai, and Yunbing, their faces still bearing sorrow, echoed, "Yes, the Five Elements gods deserve to die. Our most urgent task is to save Qingcheng. Can you tell us the location of the Time Empress? We want to save Qingcheng. No matter which time period Qingcheng is from, she must come back to life." The Space Ancestor Empress glanced at the sky a few times, but did not find the Time Empress's figure. She said bitterly, "Her realm is far higher than mine. I don't even know where she is. As the earliest rule origin will born on Blue Star, the Time Empress's realm is the strongest among the gods of Blue Star. Not only can I not find her, but no one can find her either. Unless she shows herself." Xiao Ye and the women's hearts sank. Such a supreme god who comes and goes without a trace is probably eccentric. Saving Bai Ma once might have been a casual act, but getting her to do it a second time would be difficult. The Space Ancestor Empress changed the subject, "But don't be too discouraged. You are the human emperor of Blue Star. My sister has been paying attention to you. If she knew what was going on here, she would most likely help you." Ziran, Yunbing, and Yunzai were stunned. The Time Empress has been paying attention to Xiao Ye? Even such a powerful being would pay attention to Xiao Ye? They didn't think that such a powerful being had taken a liking to Xiao Ye. That was impossible. No matter how good Xiao Ye is, he can improve templates and solve template problems. But compared to gods, he seems a bit ordinary. The Space Ancestor Empress blushed inexplicably when she thought of her and her sister, the Time Empress's, goals. They both wanted to become Xiao Ye's wives. To become the wives of the universe is great power. As the saying goes, when one person attains enlightenment, even his chickens and dogs ascend to heaven, meaning they would follow Xiao Ye and use his influence to soar to higher levels. And her purpose in getting close to Xiao Ye was to be with her sister, the Time Empress, forever. Buzz buzz buzz. Xiao Ye suddenly sensed a soul fluctuation within the soul-capturing pearl space. Even though it was only a trace, he had noticed it because he was constantly paying attention to this place. His eyes turned red, and he exclaimed with joy, "My two sisters, Qingcheng, have soul fluctuations." Ziran, Yunbing, and Yunzai, his three best friends, were overjoyed and hurriedly came over. "How is Qingcheng? Has she woken up?" "She hasn't woken up yet, she's still asleep, and her soul is still collapsing," Xiao Ye said with a dark face. The group cautiously deciphered the soul fluctuations, sensing they were unconsciously expressing something. Perhaps it was an obsession, or maybe the two women were having a nightmare, causing the two Gu Qingchangs to experience these soul fluctuations. Husband, following you has been so painful. Even from the deciphered information, one could feel the sorrow and desolation in her words. The women's gazes were like knives, glaring fiercely at him. Xiao Ye's face fell. There are still soul fluctuations we haven't finished interpreting. The group continued interpreting. In the future, I followed my husband for nearly 100 years, but he was indifferent to me, rarely responding, leaving me to guard an empty room for a century. Even though my husband provided me with the cultivation resources I needed, and didn't mistreat me materially. But is that what I need? Resources, I can obtain myself. What I need is my husband's love. However, in the future, my husband never loved me, never showed me any affection. The only time was on our wedding day 100 years ago. Watching my husband and his beast girls being affectionate, I felt like an outsider, never experiencing his doting affection. I felt like a bystander lacking love, yearning for my husband's love. My husband liked jade feet without long nails. I trimmed my nails and bathed every day to avoid foot odor, but my husband never even glanced at my jade feet. My husband likes black stockings. He can tear beautiful black stockings with a ripping sound. I even changed out of my favorite fitted ancient robe and wore the short skirt he likes to see. But my husband said I was trying to be seductive, and he criticized me harshly, treating me coldly. Every night I bathe and wait in bed for my husband's favor, sending him all sorts of seductive messages to come to my room, but he never comes. He goes to favor other beast girls. My husband likes to eat braised mermaid tails, likes to wear clothes of monochromatic colors, likes to kiss beast girls in the morning, likes, and more than 1,000 other preferences. I know all of them, better than any beast girl. But my husband has never paid any attention to me. Many times, he has looked at my back and called out Ziran's name. Ziran, Yunbing, and Yunzai narrowed their beautiful eyes, revealing a very dangerous light, which gathered on Xiao Ye. Xiao Ye, you're really something. I never thought you were this kind of person. Sisters, go. Beat him to pulp. The three women's slender white fingers cracked as they glared at him angrily. The white-haired girl with twin ponytails also had deep, unsettling eyes filled with profound disappointment. Xiao Ye, I misjudged you. I need to consider whether following you is the right choice. The Space Ancestor Queen's eyes also flashed with cold light. Xiao Ye's lips twitched, and he hurriedly spoke up. Stop. Everyone, listen to me. Sister Qingchang's words don't match my own. My wives, you've been with me for so long, when have I ever neglected you? Have I ever refused your needs? Every beast girl who is mine is like flesh and blood in my palm, cherished and protected with all my heart. I will not let down any beast girl. It's Sister Qingchang's soul fluctuations that are strange. Chapter 559 The Future Empress's Explanation. Ziran said coldly, Qingchang would never lie. She loved you so much, yet you betrayed her, you scumbag. Yunbing and Yunzai snorted, that's right, you heartless man. The white-haired girl said disappointedly, Xiao Ye, Gu Qingchang loves you to the core, but you've never cared about her. Your behavior really disappoints me. If I marry you in the future, will you treat me the same way? The Space Ancestor Empress's heart wavered. She pondered whether to tell her sister that this man wasn't worth entrusting her life to. Being a wife wasn't worth it, being a protector might be the right choice. Xiao Ye's face was bitter. I'm really not that kind of person, Sister Qingchang. Maybe my future self owes you something, but my present self also owes you something, but I have feelings for you. I really won't treat you like you say. The women didn't believe her. The deed was done. Could Qingchang still lie? Impossible. At this moment, a golden light gate appeared, and the Empress Chen Bingxi walked out. She wore a high ponytail, her long hair reaching her waist. Compared to the other beast girls, her figure was the most ordinary. If there was anything remarkable about her, it was her pair of exceptionally long legs. She looked at Xiao Ye with a complicated expression. Xiao Ye felt a pang of heartache. Bingxi, you know me best. Do you also think I'm that kind of person? Chen Bingxi sighed. Xiao Ye's heart sank. Even his first love thought he was that kind of person? Chen Bingxi shook her head. Xiao Ye isn't that kind of person. But 100 years later, perhaps the facts have already occurred, and there might be misunderstandings. You treated Sister Qingchang that way, there might be something fishy going on. Xiao Ye's eyes lit up. Yes, there's something fishy going on. I, Xiao Ye, will not neglect any beast girl. Sister King Chang's soul fluctuations are still ongoing. Let's continue to analyze. Suspicion appeared on the faces of the women and the primordial queen. Attention returned to the soul-capturing pearl, and the interpretation continued. My husband treated me like that, yet I was filled with resentment towards him. But all of this is my own doing, I deserve it. My husband is right, it's all my fault. The women's eyes widened. Cheng Bingxi, there's definitely something fishy going on. Ziran's voice trembled as she said incredulously, King Cheng, could she be cheating on me in the future? Having an affair? If King Cheng really cheated, it's easier to understand why Xiao Ye treated her that way. Xiao Ye's face darkened. In the future, Sister King Cheng had an affair? Damn it. He felt a tightness in his chest, a deep frustration. The thought of Sister King Cheng moaning under another man made him even more frustrated and angry. Damn it. I never thought Xiao Ye, would be cuckolded. The women remained expressionless, their opinions of Xiao Ye returning to normal. The Space Ancestor Empress cast a look of pity into her bright eyes. There were many human beast girls, but one wrong move and she might be cuckolded. The white-haired girl's eyes lit up, and she pounced on Xiao Ye, clinging to him firmly, saying, Xiao Ye, don't worry, Bai Mao, will definitely marry you. Bai Mao, will absolutely not cheat on you, I will never betray you. Whether in spirit, in action, or in body, I will absolutely never betray you. I don't know about Master, she might cuckold you. Ziran angrily said, Xiangling. You'd better think before you speak, or I'll lock you up for 100 years. You're not allowed to marry Xiao Ye. The white-haired girl shrank her neck and stuck out her tongue. Okay, I was just joking. Master has lived for 1500 years and has never touched a man. She's someone who can endure loneliness. How could she possibly cheat? If she were to cheat, it would be. She glanced at Yun Bing, Yun Zai, and Cheng Bingxi. But when she saw the murderous intent in their eyes, she changed her mind. No. We sisters are all loyal to Xiao Ye to the death, and we would never let him cheat on us. HMPH. Yun Bing and Yun Zai snorted coldly. Cheng Bingxi's lips twitched. This white-haired guy was really a source of amusement, but amusement should be kept within limits. One shouldn't say things recklessly. How could they possibly have an affair? Xiao Ye filled their hearts. How could they possibly have room for other men? HMPH, I wouldn't even want to touch a male dog. That's right, I wouldn't even want to touch Xiao Ye's clones. How could we possibly betray him? Yun Bing and Yun Zai snorted coldly. Xiao Ye's lips twitched. This was why he didn't create clones. These beast girls wouldn't even touch his clones. But to say that these beast girls would cheat on him? He didn't believe a word of it. Moreover, he didn't create clones because he was afraid of being cuckolded by himself. In short, he would absolutely never create clones, but the thought of Gu Qingchang cuckolding him in the future made him feel uncomfortable and extremely depressed. Bai Mao shrank back. Did Sister Qingchang really have an affair, which is why Xiao Ye treated her that way? Ziran's eyes lit up. Maybe there's something fishy going on? Cheng Bingxi nodded. Let's continue to analyze. Everyone's attention was focused on the soul-capturing pearl. My husband treated me that way. It was all my own fault. I deserved it all. I was too greedy, trying to win his love. I'm unworthy. In my timeline. When my husband and that vixen Ziran first came to Hangzhou, I learned of their marital relationship. The first time I saw him, I used my saintly realm power to oppress him, then coldly mocked him, making him realize the gap between himself and that vixen Ziran. It made him give up and abandon that vixen Ziran. So, my husband's first impression of me was terrible, disgusting, rude, domineering, and unwilling to listen to others. Later, during their time in Hangzhou, I repeatedly tried to persuade that vixen Ziran to separate from him. When that vixen Ziran wanted to be intimate with my husband, I forcibly stopped her multiple times. My husband's impression of me plummeted to its lowest point. The worst thing I did was hold a knife to my husband's neck, forcefully forcing him to break his contract with that vixen Ziran. Later, I fell into a state of demonic possession and almost died. That slut Ziran begged her husband to save me. My husband gave me a full-body massage, exhausting me like a dog. My impression of him changed. After several massages, I gradually fell in love with him, eventually becoming hopelessly in love. But my husband's impression of me remained stuck in that first impression, arrogant, rude, domineering, bossy, and self-righteous. He utterly despised me. The reason my husband and I were able to marry was because that slut Ziran used every trick in the book to beg him, and he reluctantly agreed to marry me. Our wedding day was the happiest day of my life. My husband and I entered the bridal chamber. But it only happened that once. After that, my husband ignored me, never favoring me, treating me like an outsider. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't change the stereotype he held of me. After that, I spent 100 years in an empty room, becoming a resentful woman yearning for love, a resentful woman who maintained her chastity. Even 100 years later, my husband never touched me once. The women suddenly understood. So, King Cheng hadn't cheated on Xiao Ye. All of this was the price and consequence of what King Cheng had done in her timeline. Xiao Ye's frustration vanished, he hadn't been cuckolded. Ziran, however, was furious. According to King Cheng, I helped her, but she called me a slut. HMPH, once I revive the future King Cheng, I'll definitely beat her up. Ziran, the most beautiful woman in the capital, a pure goddess, how could I be a slut? I might be slutty, but only to Xiao Ye, and only to him. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 560, Clues to Saving the Empress? Xiao Ye glanced at Yunbing and Yunzai, who looked utterly dejected, seemingly devoid of any joy at their parents' rescue. King Cheng had died because of him, and he would bring her back to life. He couldn't bear to see his beast girls so dejected. He smirked and said, Sister Yunbing, Sister Yunzai, why do you look so sad? Are you trying to cuckold someone? The twin beauties, Yunbing and Yunzai, were taken aback, then replied blankly, No. That's right, cuckold whom? Cuckold you, Xiao Ye? Xiao Ye, are you worried we'll cuckold you? Or do you want to be cuckolded yourself? Don't even think about that, it's impossible for us. Those filthy men, we feel disgusted just shaking hands with them. A dangerous glint flashed in the two women's beautiful eyes. So you don't want us anymore? Be careful, or we'll break your legs and lock you up in a place where only the 10 of us beast girls live, imprisoning you for eternity. Xiao Ye, don't just stay silent. You'd better give us an explanation, or we won't be able to sleep. Xiao Ye's lips twitched, he was no longer in the mood for jokes. He pointed to the two bewildered old men in the distance and said, You two should settle your parents-in-law first. I'll take full responsibility for King Cheng's matter. As for the cuckoldry, let's not talk about it anymore. HMPH. The twin beauties snorted coldly, letting him go. They looked at the two old men standing at the bottom of the pit, unable to climb out, a hint of embarrassment on their faces. Their best friend King Cheng's death had captured all their attention. Overwhelmed with grief, they had almost forgotten about their own parents. Xiao Ye, you absolutely must revive King Cheng, or don't even think about getting into our bed. Yes, Sai, that won't do. Xiao Ye hasn't favored me in so long, I'm getting a little hungry. Sister, you just married Xiao Ye, so you're fine, but I'm in a problem. Then let's try something else. Xiao Ye, before you revive King Cheng, if you fail to revive her for even a day, you have to come to the Time-Space Palace and favor us once. Sister, this is a reward, okay? Xiao Ye's lips twitched, and he nodded in agreement. Okay, I promise you. You can all come together then, so I don't have to run around. Yunzai. Did she say the wrong punishment? Yunbing hurriedly pulled Yunzai away to their parents' place. Xiao Ye's gaze fell on Ziran, who waved her hand. I'm staying to take care of King Cheng. Although she said I'm a slut, after examining myself, I realize I might actually be one. Xiao Ye, what kind of look is that? Haven't you seen my wildness before? Xiao Ye's lips twitched. The white-haired girl with pigtails had a strange expression. Master, is she a slut? Master herself admitted it. Tisk-tisk, it seems she doesn't quite understand Master. I must see for myself sometime. Xiao Ye glanced at the ancestral empress but ignored her. He continued to analyze King Cheng's soul fluctuations. I deserve it. I deserve to be treated coldly by my husband, but I don't regret marrying him. After returning through the time-space treasure, I acted as a wingman, improving Xiao Gu's behavior, and it was very effective. My husband's attitude towards Xiao Gu, which is equivalent to my attitude towards him, is completely different from my timeline, diametrically opposed. I can see that my husband likes Xiao Gu, which is equivalent to liking me. I'm so happy. Xiao Gu promised me that she would control my body on our wedding night. The day after our wedding night, Xiao Zai and my husband would enter the bridal chamber, and the third day after our wedding night, I would control my body. Ho ha, I, Gu Qingcheng, have finally tasted my husband's flavor. Old Gu, rise up. Seeing my young husband so infatuated with me, willing to kneel down and lick my boots, I'm so happy. A terrifying thought rose in my mind, to train my husband to my shape when we're together. I haven't even told Xiao Gu about this thought. Xiao Ye's face darkened. Xi ran, Bai Mao, and the Space Queen looked at him with strange expressions. Bai Mao was immediately surprised. Xiao Ye, the ones you married last time weren't two, they were three. You actually slept with 3 beast girls. Why, you're defiled, and I'm still a virgin. I feel like I'm losing out if I marry you. Xiao Ye's lips twitched. Then don't marry me. Bai Mao shook his head violently. Don't even think about it. Bai Mao, must marry you. If I'm losing out, you can compensate me. Xiao Ye frowned. How will you compensate me? Bai Mao blinked her bright eyes and said, pamper me a few more times, and defile me too. Then we'll both be defiled, and I won't lose out. Ziran and the Primordial Queen's lips twitched. Your scheme is practically jumping out of our faces. Xiao Ye was speechless. You white-haired rascal, I can't keep up with your thought process. The white-haired girl with pigtails giggled, hugged her, and rubbed her face against his chest, a look of pure enjoyment on her face. This scent, it smelled so good, she wanted to smell it for a lifetime. Xiao Ye patted her head and found a single tuft of hair sticking out. He smiled and said, okay, I promise you, but it has to be in the Hall of Time and Space. In the main space of Blue Star, it takes too much time. Your pigtails can't come undone, you can use them to control the direction. Ahem. The Ancestral Empress's pretty face flushed red, a rare sight, and she said, Human Emperor, can you say these things in private? Aren't you ashamed? Ziran also felt that it was inappropriate to talk about such things in this setting. White hair, go back to the Time-Space Hall and cultivate diligently. Your current realm is only at the 8th level of the Venerable Realm, which is a bit low. Among my 10 beast girls, the one with the second lowest realm is already at the Great Venerable Perfection stage. Once King Cheng is revived, I'll marry you. Xiao Ye granted White Hair free access to the Time-Space Hall. White Hair obediently nodded and said, then give me a kiss. I want to take your first kiss today. It's my first kiss too. Xiao Ye immediately retorted. After a long while, he helped the weak-legged White Hair into the Time-Space Hall. Ziran glared at him and said, continue to analyze King Cheng's soul fluctuations and see if she left any clues to revive her. She at least traveled back from 100 years in the future. Her vision is much higher than ours. Xiao Ye's eyes lit up. That's right, how come he didn't think of that? The Space Ancestor Empress frowned upon hearing this. She felt that her sister, the Time Empress, should be able to save Gu Qingcheng. If Gu Qingcheng could save herself, then her sister, the Time Empress, would seem unimportant. Xiao Ye carefully held the soul-capturing pearl and continued to interpret the soul fluctuations of the great Gu Qingcheng. My husband tastes so good. Slurp, I really want to devour him every day. My husband likes me so much too. He even sneaked a bite in the middle of the night. I was stunned when I found out. My husband actually has this side to him. HMPH, I still don't understand my husband enough. In the future, I must understand my husband inside and out. If only I could pry open his brain and see what dark thoughts he has that he has never revealed to his beast girls. Chapter 561 The First Empress, I want to become the human emperor's wife. The Ancestral Empress was also very puzzled. Her elder sister, the Time Empress, was probably the one who most wanted to become the human emperor's wife. Now was the time when the human emperor needed help the most, and if her sister were to lend a hand now, it should be easy to gain the human emperor's trust and favor. Why wasn't she showing up now? Why wasn't she helping? An ominous premonition rose in the Ancestral Empress's heart. Could it be that her sister couldn't come here now, that she was trapped by a powerful enemy? Or, that her sister couldn't save Gu Qingcheng? Impossible. Her sister, the Time Empress, had already reached a realm above the Emperor realm, and had the ability to make absolute adjustments to time on Blue Star. Time reversal, time fast forward, even time reset. Her sister could do all of that, okay? Bringing someone back to life might be a fantasy in the eyes of others, but in her eyes, wasn't it an easy thing to do? Xiao Ye and Ziran were unaware of what the Empress was thinking. They were currently interpreting the soul fluctuations of Gu Qingcheng, trying to find a way to bring her back to life from them. If only there were a way to search my husband's soul without harming him. Then I could know all his secrets. And mold him into my Gu Qingcheng form. Hiss. Xiao Ye felt his soul tremble. Gu Qingcheng 100 years later was so terrifying. Was this a disease, a yandir? Would he become the Chengje who was hacked to death with a woodcutter's knife? Everyone says Chengje died young, but Chengje probably thinks you guys didn't do enough. Xiao Ye wondered if Gu Qingcheng 100 years later was afraid of being alone, harboring too much resentment, and therefore wanted to understand him thoroughly and then completely control him. Ziran remained expressionless. Qingcheng won't hurt you. But a resentment remains. Xiao Ye, if you can really revive Qingcheng, you must compensate her. Oh, compensate Qingcheng 100 years from now. That way, the resentment in her heart will gradually diminish, and those wicked thoughts will gradually disappear. Xiao Ye nodded in delight. Yes, compensate her more, and I won't become Chengje. I'm different from Chengje. Chengji's campus girlfriends all look down on each other, but I'm different. Qingcheng accepts my beast girls and is willing to live and coexist harmoniously with them. Cheng Bingxi narrowed her eyes. As the harem leader, she needed to talk to both Gu Qingchengs. Soul search? Pry open their heads? Not allowed. Any attempt to harm Xiao Ye was unacceptable. She, Cheng Bingxi, wouldn't allow such wicked thoughts to arise in their hearts. Otherwise, she would cleanse the harem, making those with such wicked thoughts disappear completely. Everyone continued to interpret the soul fluctuations of the greater Gu Qingcheng. However, I will try my best to hide these dark thoughts and not let anyone find out. In short, I will never hurt my husband, and I will never let him suffer any injustice or pain. Alice, my husband is about to come into contact with a realm of rules. That primordial empress will definitely appear, and Xiao Gu and I will have few advantages left. Did she read my mind? The primordial empress immediately perked up her ears. She was also curious about what kind of story would unfold between her and the human emperor. The interpretation continues, the primordial empress is the embodiment of the will of the spatial origin. And her realm has reached the peak of the third stage of the emperor realm. She is only one step away from the star domain level, which is above the emperor realm. Her allure to my husband is fatal. This little lecher loves mysterious and high-class noble women the most. I hope my husband won't be completely infatuated. Alice, after arriving in the realm of rules, what I find strange is that the primordial empress hasn't offered any help, remaining hidden behind the scenes. Xiao Gu and I will be forever lost in slumber. Ziran suddenly grabbed Xiao Ye's waist and twisted it hard, a full 360 degrees. Hiss. Xiao Ye gasped in pain, speechless. Sister Ziran, what are you doing? Ziran glanced coldly at the ancestral empress, her tone sour as she said to him, are you currently eyeing some empress, wanting to get intimate with her? HMPH, we sisters have both figures and faces, go ahead and seduce a rule will. Ziran's jealousy had been ignited. Cheng Bingxi crossed her arms and said coldly, Xiao Ye, Sister Qingcheng is right, you're just a little pervert. You fall for any high-class, mysterious, and beautiful woman. Hell, you're the human emperor, she's the empress, a match made in heaven, even I, the head of the harem, am envious. Xiao Ye's face darkened. Sister Qingcheng, could you please stop sending out these soul fluctuations? You've really put me in a difficult position. Xiao Ye wailed, I'm innocent. I've only met this senior twice. Last time I saw her, I thought she was an enemy and wanted to kill her. This time, I barely managed to put aside my hostility, but I'm still wary. I want to stay away from such a dangerous woman. I have no intention of pursuing her. Bingxi, Ziran, please don't be bewitched by Qingcheng from 100 years in the future. Reality can be changed. In her timeline, I was very indifferent to her, but in this timeline, I like Qingcheng very much. In her timeline, the Empress would help, but in our timeline, the Empress didn't. Therefore, in this timeline, I have no intention of pursuing the Empress. He said firmly. HMPH. I'll let you off the hook. Ziran released her grip, agreeing with her husband's reasoning. Cheng Bingxi's heart, which had been hanging in suspense, settled back into her stomach, and a smile appeared on her face. She said, Your Majesty, as the will of the origin of rules, You shouldn't have human emotions, right? You wouldn't seduce Xiao Ye, would you? As the will of the origin of rules, you wouldn't even look down on a dirty man like Xiao Ye, who has been corrupted by 9 beast girls, would you? Even if Xiao Ye lusts after your body, you still think he's dirty, right? Xiao Ye, the space ancestor empress. Her lips twitched. She had emotions. Ever since her sister helped her condense into her body, she had human emotions. Otherwise, she wouldn't have become a god standing on the front lines of the battlefield, protecting the Milky Way and Blue Star, not wanting the cosmic races to invade and destroy the Milky Way and Blue Star. Her purpose in appearing here this time was not to reclaim the small amount of special rule origin that the human emperor had forcibly seized, but to become the human emperor's wife. But she couldn't say these things aloud. The human emperor didn't trust her yet and was still very wary of her. So, the primordial queen of space paused for a moment before speaking. I have emotions no less than those of humans. But I came here to help the human emperor overcome this crisis, yet I didn't expect Gu Qingcheng to possess such great power, disrupting my plans. As for seducing the human emperor, I'm sorry, you're overthinking it. I've lived for over 500,000 years, and I've never intended to become a man's wife, not in the past, and not on the future. Her pretty face flushed slightly, and she herself felt a little embarrassed. How could she say such insincere words to the human emperor? She, the primordial queen, was determined to become the human emperor's wife. Chapter 562 Multiple Methods to Revive the Empress. But then, the space ancestor empress's heart was filled with worry again. The light in her proud, bright eyes dimmed slightly. The space around Blue Star and even the Milky Way had become more relaxed and orderly, with many chaotic areas experiencing a surge in spatial turbulence, spatial storms, and spatial annihilation factors. The human emperor was still wary of her. There was no trust whatsoever. What could she do to make the human emperor lower his guard and increase his favor? If he hadn't even lowered his guard, how could she talk about increasing favor? Everything she did might be seen as a premeditated scheme by the human emperor. Alice, even when she wreaked havoc on the star battlefield and annihilated a great perfection emperor realm expert from a neighboring star system, she had never been so worried. Things were beyond her control. If only someone had caused trouble for the human emperor, she wouldn't be like this now, watching Gu Qingcheng gradually collapse, helpless and powerless. The space empress's explanation reduced Cheng Bingxi and Ziran's hostility towards her somewhat. But the hostility in their hearts had not completely dissipated. Xiao Ye continued to analyze the soul fluctuations of the old Gu Qingcheng. The primordial empress of space didn't actually make a move. This was unexpected and caught me completely off guard. In my timeline, the primordial empress made a powerful move, turning Yu Yangdingshan into a quantum being with a single wave of her hand. I had no idea that Yu Yangdingshan possessed defensive capabilities granted by the 5 elements gods. Alice, perhaps my appearance caused a slight fluctuation in the trajectory of this timeline. What could I do? I couldn't just stand by and watch my husband be captured, imprisoned, and kept locked up for 10,000 years. Waiting for him for 10,000 years is worse than death. Since this timeline changed because of my appearance, I must bear the consequences and accept the illusory causal cost. I can only use a cosmic-level divine power to invoke the Dao of Destiny, which doesn't yet belong to me, to suppress the 5 elements gods lurking in the shadows, and then kill Yu Yangdingshan. Although I will have to bear the price of permanent physical destruction, I have no regrets in order to save my husband. However, it seems the force was a bit too strong, actually suppressing all the fundamental rules of Blue Star, causing turmoil in the fundamental rules of Blue Star and triggering its own resistance. The price to be paid has increased dozens of times. Originally, a soul could awaken after a period of slumber, but now, both Xiao Gu's and my souls are under immense pressure, rejected by all the rules of Blue Star, almost certainly facing certain death. Xiao Ye, Ziran, and Chang Bingxi all fell silent, their hearts filled with endless sorrow. Old Gu Qingcheng, little Gu Qingcheng, the 2 Hangzhou empresses from different timelines, are they really going to die? Looking at the 2 souls still disintegrating within the soul space of the soul-capturing pearl, they remained silent, their brows furrowed as they stared. Xiao Ye asked himself, was he really worth old Gu Qingcheng saving? He had come to Hangzhou a month ago, and they had known each other for less than a month. There were feelings involved, but not particularly deep. As for little Qingcheng, he had only saved her life and helped her solve the template problem. allowing her to enjoy the happiness of becoming a wife. He had never spoken to the great sister King Cheng. Even in the future, according to the great sister King Cheng, he made her guard an empty room for 100 years. Was he really worth two Gu King Chengs risking their lives to save him? As Xiao Ye's childhood sweetheart and first love, Cheng Bingxi seemed to understand his feelings. She took his hand and held it close, whispering with a touch of heartache, "Xiao Ye, do you feel you're not worthy of being saved?" Xiao Ye looked up, his eyes filled with astonishment. "How did you know?" Cheng Bingxi blinked. "How could I not know? If you frown, I know if you're horny or want water. If you stick your butt out, I know if you need to pee or poop. I, Cheng Bingxi, am the one who has been with you the longest, the one who knows you best. Now that I am your wife, I understand you inside and out." Xiao Ye's lips twitched. "Then do you think I'm worthy of being saved by two beautiful women? Am I worthy of their love?" Cheng Bingxi stroked his head like a kitten, saying, "Love is sweet, and it's painful. It's like an iced cola in summer, and it's like a bone-chilling wind in winter. It's fragile, and it's profound. It's not a matter of whether it's worth it or not. As for whether you're worth Sister King Cheng saving? From an outsider's perspective, it's not worth it. You're such a scumbag, one beast girl after another, with this beast girl today, with that beast girl tomorrow. You feel very insecure. From Sister King Cheng's perspective, it's worth it. Sister King Cheng said she doesn't regret it. Just for that, you're worth her saving." Xiao Ye's doubts vanished. "I understand." Cheng Bingxi smiled, her tone sincere. "So, if something unexpected happens in the future, I'll save you like this too. If I die, just take my ashes to my parents, then have a happy feast, and after the feast, sleep well with the beast girls. Forget about me. Don't be so sentimental. Otherwise, I'll be heartbroken down there." Xiao Ye raised his hand and flicked her forehead, his face darkening. Cheng Bingxi covered her head, looking aggrieved, and said, "Why did you hit me?" Xiao Ye said, each word distinct, "You won't die? I won't allow you to die." Cheng Bingxi chuckled, feeling a warm glow inside, but the current situation wasn't suitable for laughing. She covered her mouth and huffed, "Xiao Ye, you're too selfish. My body and soul are already yours. Can't I even control my own life and death?" Xiao Ye said expressionlessly, "You can only die with my permission." The Space Ancestor Empress watched the two flirting and couldn't help but feel a little envious. If only she and her sister could be this happy. Sigh. Ziran suddenly said, "King Cheng's soul fluctuations have started again." Xiao Ye and Cheng Bingxi hurriedly went over. The interpretation continues, "This time, I'm almost certainly dead. But if my husband loves us deeply enough, perhaps we can still be saved. There are several ways. First, send me and Xiaogu into time-space treasure, consuming some of the essence of the time rules to teleport us to the future. In the future, my husband will have become the supreme being of the universe, able to revive us with a wave of his hand. But I probably won't be able to come back, my main body will absorb me, and I don't want to go back. Second, annihilate our souls, transfer our will to the essence of the fate rules, and once we merge with it, we will naturally awaken. However, by then, we probably won't have any of our past memories. Third, wait for my husband to grow up and revive us many years later. Fourth, throw us into the land of annihilation and let us fend for ourselves." Chapter 563 The Time Empress makes her appearance. Mu Kingsu? Xiaogu will definitely not die, but I'm not so sure. Sigh, I finally got to taste my husband's pleasure, and now I'm going to die. This life is so bitter. Dagu King Cheng's soul fluctuations fell silent. Everyone could hear the sorrow and despair in her words. Ziran glared at Xiao Ye. "We can't send King Cheng back to the future. If she wants to stay in this time period, then she can stay in this time period." Xiao Ye nodded, "I will respect King Cheng's choice." Looking at the two souls in the soul-capturing pearl's soul space, he said earnestly, King Cheng, I will save you, I promise." Dagu King Cheng had already given away to save them. This meant that the two women could be saved. If they could be saved, that was good. Cheng Bingxi frowned. "But which method should we choose? The first is to send them back to the future. The second is to transfer their will to the origin of the rules of fate. Even if they are revived, they will have no memories. The third is that both of King Cheng's souls are in a state of disintegration and will die completely soon, not even until we grow up. As for the fourth, sending them to the land of annihilation, What's the difference between that and killing King Cheng? How can that be considered saving them? Xiao Ye nodded. Right now, only the second method is the safest. As long as King Cheng can be revived, even if their memories disappear, we must revive them. Ziran rolled her eyes. Without memories, are they still King Cheng? It's like they've been replaced. Xiao Ye gritted his teeth. Let's revive King Cheng first, perhaps there will be a way to restore their memories later. The most urgent thing is to revive King Cheng. Ziran sighed. That's the only way. Suddenly, the Space Ancestor Empress looked up at the sky and stood up, exclaiming in surprise, Sister, you're here. A faint, ethereal voice descended from the sky, and a tall woman, shrouded in mysterious mist, appeared beside Xiao Ye. Xiao Ye quickly pulled Chen Bingxi and Ziran back a few steps, distancing himself from her, and then clasped his hands in greeting, saying, May I ask who you are? From within the indistinct, mysterious mist, a melodious voice rang out, I am the Time Empress, an elder of the Space Ancestor Empress. The Ancestor Empress nodded vigorously, delighted, yes, this is my sister, the Time Empress. She's the one who revived the white-haired girl with twin ponytails. Sister, the human emperor is in trouble now, will you lend a hand? Xiao Ye clasped his hands in a pleading manner, I beg the Time Empress to lend a hand and revive the two beautiful sisters. I will forever remember your kindness in reviving the white-haired girl, and if I can repay you one day, I will. The Time Empress's bright eyes lit up, but then dimmed again. I estimate that I can't save your sister King Cheng. Senior King Cheng used a great divine power, which caused my original time rules to instinctively resist. Or rather, my original time rules cannot supersede the great divine power and erase its traces. I cannot reverse time on Senior King Cheng to revive her. As for repayment, I happen to have something I need your help with, but the time is not yet right. I will tell you when the time comes. Xiao Ye, Ziran, and Chen Bingxi listened, their brows furrowing. They felt that the voice sounded somewhat similar to Mu Qingxu's. Xiao Ye looked up, his gaze vaguely piercing through the mysterious mist, making out a graceful, tall, and stunningly beautiful figure. This figure shared similarities with Mu Qingxu, but also had some differences. As for her face, it was too obscured by the mysterious mist to be seen clearly. The Time Empress smirked. Human Emperor, why are you looking at me like that? Have you taken a fancy to me? Why don't you leave those beast girls, and I'll take you far away. Cough cough cough. Xiao Ye was so shocked that he choked on his own saliva. She hurriedly waved her hand, saying, No, Senior, please don't tease me. How could I have the guts to covet you? I just feel that you resemble someone I know. Ziran and Chen Bingxi nodded, yes, somewhat similar to Qingzhu, but also different. The Time Empress smiled lightly, there are billions of humans on Blue Star. It's normal for some to resemble each other. I've come here to tell you, those gods on Blue Star who covet the origin of the rules of destiny have already mobilized, conducting a thorough search of Blue Star for the location of the origin of the rules of destiny. You need to hurry, or the origin of the rules of destiny will be taken away. The Space Ancestor Empress's eyes lit up. Taken away is good. When the human emperor falls into anxiety and panic, she can take back the origin of the rules of destiny. Would that win her the human emperor's favor? Ha. She was very happy. Xiao Ye, Ziran, and Chen Bingxi's expressions changed drastically. Xiao Ye hurriedly took out the treasure-seeking pointer and issued a command to it, origin of the rules of destiny of Blue Star buzz buzz buzz. The treasure-seeking pointer trembled, and a red chain pierced through the void, disappearing into its depths. Xiao Ye was overjoyed. The appearance of the red chain meant he had found it. Soon he would be able to obtain the special note of the origin of the rules of destiny. But suddenly, a snap. The red chain broke. He received feedback from the treasure-seeking pointer. Affected by the laws of the universe, the search was interrupted. Unable to search, beep 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 beep, the treasure-seeking pointer had crashed. Xiao Ye. He shook the treasure-seeking pointer, then tapped it with his fist, trying to restart it. His face was grim, so dark it could drip ink. Ziran and Chen Bingxi's expressions changed. Xiao Ye, how is it? Have you found the location of the origin of the rules of destiny? Xiao Ye shook his head and gritted his teeth, saying, affected by the laws of the universe, I can't find it. At this moment, the Space Ancestor Empress's beautiful eyes lit up, and she said, Human Emperor, why don't you ask me if I know? Xiao Ye, Senior Ancestor Empress, do you know where it is? The Space Ancestor Empress raised her head proudly and said, "Of course, I am the space controller of the Milky Way. As long as it exists in space or the void within Blue Star or the Milky Way, I know where it is." The Time Empress looked at her and found it inexplicably amusing. "Ancestor Empress, just tell me directly, where is it?" Xiao Ye, Ziran, and Chang Bingxi looked at her expectantly. The primordial queen of space said, "It's at special node 985, 354. Xiao Ye remembered it and waved his hand. "Little maid, come out and get to work, we have something to do." Zhang Zunyu walked out of the golden light gate, transforming into a star beast, and Xiao Ye, Ziran, and Chang Bingxi jumped on it. Xiao Ye silently recited the special coordinates, pointed in a direction, and said solemnly, "Let's go." With a whoosh, the star beast transformed into a star and sped away. The primordial queen of space frowned. "I can send him there directly, in less than a second. Why didn't the human emperor ask me for help?" The Empress of Time said, "He doesn't consider us his own people yet, subconsciously believing that he can only rely on himself and must do everything himself." The primordial queen of space. "You've become his benefactor, and the human emperor still doesn't consider you one of his own?" The Empress of Time. The two stunningly beautiful goddesses stared at each other, bewildered. Chapter 564 The Bottleneck of Gods. These two are the two most powerful deities on Blue Star. One is the origin deity of the rules of space, and the other is the origin deity of the rules of time. Space is king, and time is emperor. The Time Empress asked, "Ancestor Empress, what do you think of the human emperor?" The Space Ancestor Empress recalled for a moment and summarized, "The human emperor is loyal and righteous, and of excellent character. I discovered that his beast girls are all mythical level templates. Humans born on Blue Star cannot have an initial talent exceeding SSS level, which means that the human emperor has a way to improve the templates of humans. He is now 18 years old, at the Supreme Realm, and is undoubtedly the #1 prodigy among humans. In the Milky Way and several star systems around the Milky Way, his talent is also T0 level, comparable to the young masters of the great cosmic races deep in the universe." The Time Empress nodded. "Indeed, the human emperor started from a low point, but his talent is second to none. His current talent is the strongest among humans on Blue Star. Once a deity's will is born and they control the origin of the rules, they are born at the Emperor Realm. Humanity has just awakened, only stepping into the first tier of the mortal realm. They might never break through to the Emperor Realm in their entire lives, that's the difference." The Space Ancestor Empress frowned. "How does the human emperor's aptitude compare to ours as gods?" The Time Empress said bitterly, "Once we gods are born, our cultivation isn't through conventional methods. We follow the path of advancing and strengthening our origins of rules. To advance beyond the Emperor Realm, we are limited by our primordial planet, making advancement extremely difficult. The paths humans take are somewhat similar to ours, but also very different. They merge with the origins of rules, becoming the origins of rules themselves, able to leave their planet and venture into the vast universe to realize their ambitions. Advancement in realms isn't just about aptitude, but also about luck. Everyone, even gods, has their own karma and destiny. Humans and gods cannot be compared by aptitude alone." The Space Empress suddenly felt a pang of sorrow. Yes, gods start high, benefiting from Blue Star, yet also limited by it. To break through to higher levels, they can only allow Blue Star to advance. Their destiny is bound to Blue Star. Humans start from a low level, but all their cultivation levels are achieved through genuine self-cultivation. They use themselves as seeds, plundering the creation of heaven and earth to take root and sprout, unrestricted by the natural world. As long as their aptitude is decent, they can still smoothly advance to higher realms in the vast universe. Humans with exceptionally brilliant aptitude are extremely rare, even fewer than the number of gods. In hundreds of thousands of years, not a single human has failed to reach the Emperor Realm. Of course, the inability of humans to advance to the Emperor Realm is also related to the constraints imposed by the gods. Like her, the Space Empress, she remained at the peak of the third stage of the Emperor Realm for over 10,000 years, still only one step away from the Star Domain Realm. But this one step was like an insurmountable chasm, which she could not cross no matter how hard she tried. This was because the quality and level of Blue Star's special rules at this moment only allowed her to break through to the peak of the third stage of the Emperor Realm. To advance further, she needed to upgrade Blue Star's special rules. The Time Empress frowned. The human emperor is quite good, but there are a lot of beast girls. Space Empress, do you want to be his protector or his wife? The Space Ancestor Empress blinked. I'm fine with either. What about you, sister? The reason I want to be tied to the human emperor is that I want to live and fight alongside you. I don't have many other thoughts about him. The Time Empress rolled her eyes. Is it worth it for you to compromise yourself because of me? You can still back out now, otherwise it will be too late to regret it later. The Space Ancestor Empress shook her head. There's no such thing as worth it, only willingness. Sister, you still haven't told me whether you want to be the human emperor's protector or his wife? The Time Empress suddenly blushed. Me? Of course, I want to be the human emperor's wife. I can't see the human emperor's future, but I can see his past. He's a very likable person. Besides, following the human emperor means you'll have good fortune and can quickly advance your cultivation level. That's called an investment. The Space Ancestor Empress sighed, but this investment comes at a too high price. It requires using one's own body as capital, and the very essence of the rules as capital. If the investment fails, one will have nothing. Forget it, don't think about it so much. I want to become the human emperor's wife. Then I'll become the human emperor's wife before you. I'll pave the way for you. At this moment, a dazzling light rapidly approached from afar. It was the starry sky beast, carrying Xiao Ye, Ziran, and Chang Bingxi back. The Time Empress and the Space Ancestor Empress stopped their chatter, curious about why Xiao Ye had returned. Xiao Ye jumped down and faced the two deities, somewhat awkwardly saying, "Seniors, could you do me a favor?" The Space Ancestor Empress's lips curled into a smile, saying, "What favor does the human emperor need from us? Tell me first." Xiao Ye scratched his head and chuckled, "Seniors, our highest cultivation level is only at the peak of the quasi-emperor realm. If we were to compete with the deities for the origin of the rules of destiny, we would have absolutely no chance of winning. Could you two help us obtain the origin of the rules of destiny? I will pay a reward." The Ancestor Empress and the Time Empress exchanged a glance, both seeing the joy in each other's eyes. The Space Ancestor Empress blinked. "Human Emperor, what reward can you offer right now?" Xiao Ye's expression stiffened. He truly didn't have a reward comparable to the origin of the rules of destiny. And he might not be able to in the future either. Chang Bingxi and Ziran looked troubled. Without an equivalent reward, they simply couldn't persuade the two deities to help. Why would the deities help you when they have no connection to you? The ancestral queen was overjoyed. Given the human emperor's current status, he certainly couldn't afford the reward. With his current strength, he also couldn't forcibly seize the essence of the rules of destiny from among the many gods. This made his request extremely valuable. Xiao Ye's face flushed slightly, and he awkwardly laughed. "As long as seniors are willing to help, I will remember your kindness. When I grow stronger, I will definitely pay you an equivalent reward. Also, I will repay your kindness to me separately. Senior, is that all right?" He felt a little guilty. According to Sister Qingcheng, he would definitely grow stronger in the future. But right now, he was still very weak. The two senior gods couldn't be sure if he could grow stronger. Saying this was tantamount to trying to get something for nothing. At this moment, the starry sky beast disappeared, and Zhang Zunan appeared. She jumped cheerfully to Xiao Ye's side and took out some things from her pocket. There were more than 10 items in total, all sealed. But even though they were sealed, the aura emanating from them made everyone present change color. The primordial queen of space's expression changed drastically, exclaiming in shock, This is a fragment of the Dao of space? And also a droplet of the origin liquid of the Dao of space?" Chapter 565 Sending Gu Qingcheng to the Future. The Time Empress exclaimed in surprise, "Fragments of the Time Dao rules? And droplets of the Time Dao origin liquid?" The two exchanged a bewildered glance, both seeing the shock in each other's eyes. More than 10 sealed items, each one a top-tier item in the universe. Not only did Blue Star lack them, but the Milky Way didn't have them either. Even among the major cosmic races, these were things only top-tier beings could possess. Why would a stark behemoth have something that only the supreme beings could possess? She was only at the peak of the quasi-emperor realm, not even having stepped into the emperor realm yet. Zhang Zunan chuckled, "Seniors, I wonder if these items could serve as payment? You two are the controllers of space and time on Blue Star. These in my hands are all items related to time and space. I used to follow the princess and mother around, picking up a whole bunch of junk. They looked shiny and fun, they were all toys from my childhood." The Time Empress and the Space Ancestor Empress's lips twitched. Junk they picked up, Childhood toys, just because they looked cute? Ahem, the future human emperor has truly grown to a level we could never have imagined. The Time Empress's beautiful eyes showed a hint of surprise. The Time Ancestor Empress nodded. We don't even have the right to possess these things now. Xiao Ye's expression brightened, and he laughed heartily. Little maid, well done. You should have picked up more trash back then. Zhang Zunan was overjoyed at the praise, her beautiful eyes crinkling into crescents. My lord, I had no idea what these were back then. Back then, my lord and mistress threw away a lot of trash, and I only picked up a small portion of it. Once, it was tinged with a trace of my lord and mistress's aura, and I found it familiar and fun, so I put it in my pocket. Xiao Ye gave a thumbs up, looked at the two deities, and said, Seniors, judging from your expressions, these things are quite attractive to you. These will all be paid to you as payment. You help me seize the origin of the rules of destiny, how about it? In the mysterious mist, the Time Ancestor Empress covered her mouth and chuckled. Human Emperor, with so many things to show, aren't you afraid we'll take them all? And then kill you all? The Space Ancestor Empress nodded and smiled. Human Emperor, weren't you worried of me? How come you're willing to take these things out in front of us? Xiao Ye remained calm, secretly establishing communication with the Time-Space Palace. If anything seemed amiss, he could immediately send them into the Time-Space Palace. The reason he gave them all away was because he had reservations. What if the two gods weren't satisfied and went on a killing spree to steal their treasures? Zhang Zunan had taken out the items, he didn't know beforehand, otherwise he wouldn't have had the little maid bring out so many at once. He still harbored suspicion and vigilance, but outwardly smiled faintly. According to Sister Qingchen, since Senior Ancestor Empress was willing to kill Lu Yangdingshan to help us, you shouldn't be the kind of god who enjoys killing and stealing. I trust you, Senior. A glint flashed in the Space Ancestor Empress's beautiful eyes. She could tell that the human emperor lacked confidence. He probably still didn't trust them. That little lecherous human emperor was cunning, she didn't believe his words. Sigh, it seems I still need to do something to gain the human emperor's trust. The Time Empress waved her hand, and a drop of sealed Dao Time Dao Principal Origin liquid floated up from Zhang Zu's hand and landed in her palm. She said excitedly, Human Emperor, this one item is enough. Take the rest back. Ancestor Empress, you don't need to accept any reward. In terms of value, this single drop of Dao Principal Origin liquid is worth more than the original origin of the Blue Star's Destiny Rules. Let alone a single Destiny Rules origin, even if you combined all the resources in the entire Milky Way, it wouldn't be as valuable as this tiny drop of Time Dao Principal Origin liquid. The Space Ancestor Empress looked longingly at the fragments of the Space Dao Principles and the droplets of Space Dao Principal Origin liquid in Zhang Zu's fair palm, then withdrew her gaze somewhat disappointedly, saying, Fine, I don't want them anymore. Human Emperor, we have already received our reward and will help you forcibly seize the origin of the Destiny Rules. Xiao Ye noticed the disappointment in the Ancestor Empress's eyes and smiled, then thank you both, seniors. He privately transmitted his voice to Zhang Zu's, little maid, put these things away. You have good things, don't take out too many at once, it's easy to attract covetousness and envy. It would be even better if you could give them to me for safekeeping. Zhang Zu's giggles, she put everything in Xiao Ye's pocket, and transmitted her voice, Master, these were originally the trash you and mistress threw away, I'm returning them all to you. Xiao Ye patted her head, so sensible. Zhang Zunan weakly transmitted her voice, little girl has a request, can you grant it, Master? Xiao Ye replied in surprise, what request? Zhang Zunan twisted her exquisitely beautiful body shyly, her pretty face slightly flushed, and transmitted her voice, my body is in heat, can you help little girl relieve it? It's so uncomfortable to hold it in. Xiao Ye's lips twitched, looking at Zhang Zunan's expectant eyes, he couldn't help but nod. He assured her that he wasn't lusting after Zhang Zunan's curvaceous body, nor did he want to touch her fair and slender legs, or her delicate and exquisite feet. He was only thinking about the health of his pet beast. Zhang Zunan's whole face lit up, and she jumped up happily, waving her arms and legs, saying, Yay! The Space Ancestor Empress and the Time Empress's faces darkened. With their cultivation levels, they didn't need to spy on what the human emperor and Zhang Zunan were saying. Good heavens, the human emperor even wanted to use a starved beast. This is too insane. Human emperor, perhaps the first method could save Gu Qingchen. Send the Gu King Cheng of this timeline to the future, let your future self revive her, and then send her back. We'll find the source of the rules of destiny to revive the older Gu King Cheng. The source of the rules of destiny cannot have two wills coexisting. Although the two Gu King Cheng souls are very similar, sharing the same origin, their wills are different due to their different experiences, and cannot be merged. The Time Empress felt it necessary to assert her presence. Xiao Ye's expression changed. He truly didn't know that the source of the rules of destiny couldn't merge two wills. If time dragged on any longer, one of the two Gu King Cheng souls would inevitably dissipate and disappear, leaving only one to be saved. A sense of lingering fear rose in his heart. Fortunately, the Time Empress had reminded him, otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Senior, thank you for the reminder. His eyes showed gratitude. The Time Empress nodded. However, activating the time treasure requires the source of the rules of time. Could you generously provide some? Cheng Bingxi asked. The Time Empress smiled faintly. Doesn't the human emperor possess fragments of time-related Dao principles? Those things are enough to provide sufficient time factors to keep the time-space treasure running. Alright, Empress, the task of helping the human emperor seize the original body of the destiny rule is entrusted to you. I have other matters to attend to. Can you handle this? The Space Ancestor Empress's lips twitched. She hadn't received any reward, yet she was being asked to take action. No problem. Leave it to me, the Space Ancestor Empress said, patting her swaying, arrogant confidence. Chapter 566 The Time Treasure is lost, only one Gu King Cheng can be saved. What she needed to do was to dispel the Emperor's wariness of her and let him know that she was trustworthy. Where is the time-space treasure? Xiao Ye examined the two Gu King Cheng souls but found no time-space treasure. His face darkened. The time-space treasure was a high-level treasure capable of traversing time and space. What would happen to Gu King Cheng if it was lost? The origin of fate's rules could only revive one. But what about the other? Inside the soul-capturing pearl were two Gu King Chengs. One was the Gu King Cheng who had guarded an empty room for 100 years and exhibited Yandir symptoms. The other was the Gu King Cheng who had held a grand wedding with him in the current timeline. Xiao Ye was anxious. He had to revive both Gu King Chengs. Ziran pondered, I didn't see the time-space treasure either. Such an important treasure should be something King Cheng always carried with her. After her body was destroyed, could the time-space treasure have been left in the deep pit? The group arrived at the deep pit. By this time, the two elders had already bing taken away by Yun Bing and Yun Zai and settled in the Xie family's territory. Xiao Ye, Ziran, and Chang Bingxi fell into the deep pit. Looking at the chaotic bottom, they found it completely empty. There was no trace of the time-space treasure. The Space Ancestor Empress landed, reached out to examine it, and frowned, saying, the space here is intact, except for a special node with a loophole. I suspect the time-space treasure entered the void space through that loophole. The void space is the other side of space. With a flick of her wrist, she created clouds and rain, and the scene before them shifted, placing them in the void space. Here, it was all emptiness, nothing at all. Xiao Ye was somewhat worried. Ancestor Empress, can you help us search? I will pay you. The Space Ancestor Empress is the controller of the fundamental rules of Blue Star's space, controlling Blue Star's space. Finding things within Blue Star should be very easy for her. The Primordial Empress waved her hand and smiled, no need for payment. I'm helping you not because I need your things, but voluntarily. You are the human emperor, I am the empress, both possessing imperial destiny. I don't want to be your enemy. My approach is also to express goodwill. Perhaps in the future, we can fight side by side against external enemies. Xiao Ye seemed thoughtful. The Empress approached him only to express goodwill? Or did she have ulterior motives? Then thank you in advance, Primordial Empress. He clasped his hands in gratitude. The Primordial Empress nodded, closed her eyes, and instantly sensed all the spaces on Blue Star. The mortal realm, the realm of rules, the void space, the chaotic space. She sensed for 10 seconds, her brows furrowing. A minute later, the Primordial Empress opened her eyes, unwillingly saying, I'm sorry, I didn't find it. Perhaps, the level of the space-time treasure is too high, just like your Grand Hall, even standing right in front of me, I can't see it. She felt powerless once again, somewhat doubting her own existence. Since encountering the human emperor, she had questioned her existence countless times. Despite being at the peak of the third stage of the Emperor realm, possessing top-tier combat power, she had repeatedly found herself helpless and powerless to help the human emperor. Xiao Ye's lips twitched. The time-space palace was under his control. He wanted it to be visible to others, otherwise, even if it floated right in front of your eyes, you wouldn't see it. Even if a time-space treasure wasn't as powerful as the time-space palace, it was probably not far behind. Cheng Bingxi's beautiful eyes gleamed with wisdom as she suggested, Xiao Ye, could the owner of that time-traveling treasure be you? Did you lend it to Sister Qingcheng, allowing her to return from the future? If the owner is you, call out to it and see if it responds. If it appears. Ziran pondered, Xiao Ye, the owner of the time-traveling treasure could also be you. You have the Bronze Palace, the time-traveling hall, and the pointer for finding items. None of us beast girls possess these things. In the future, the time-traveling treasure might have originated from you. The primordial empress fell silent. Everything she was helpless against was related to the human emperor. Ah, the human emperor was her nemesis. Xiao Ye's lips twitched. Call? How? Call? Ziran rolled her eyes. Just try it. If it doesn't work, we'll think of something else. Xiao Ye grinned. Okay. He used his divine sense to shout towards the void, Time baby, come out here. Little time baby, return to daddy's embrace, I need you. Whoosh. A flash of white light appeared beside them. Xiao Ye, Ziran, and Chang Bingxi were overjoyed. It's appeared? The three looked closely and saw a mysterious mist, the Time Empress, appear. She looked bewildered. Human Emperor, did you call me? She seemed to be taking a bath, a white towel casually draped over her shoulders. Xiao Ye. He said somewhat awkwardly, Senior Time Empress, I didn't call you. I'm looking for a time treasure, a treasure that can travel through time and space. Ziran and Cheng Bingxi looked at the Time Empress suspiciously. Why did she appear as soon as Xiao Ye called out? Could it be that she was keeping an eye on the human emperor? The two immediately sensed something was wrong. Why would such a beautiful, high-level woman be paying attention to Xiao Ye? The Time Empress blushed, quickly wrapping herself tightly in a white towel, and said, It's nothing, bye-bye. She vanished in a flash. The primordial empress covered her mouth and laughed. It seemed the human emperor was indeed very important to her sister. Just a few casual calls, and her sister appeared. Back then, she had searched every corner of Blue Star, calling until her voice was hoarse, but her sister, the Time Empress, had never appeared. Ugh, a little heartbreaking. Cheng Bingxi frowned. The time treasure hasn't appeared. What will happen to Sister Qingcheng? Can we only save one Sister Qingcheng? Let the other Sister Qingcheng die? Xiao Ye, if you could only choose one Sister Qingcheng, which one would you choose? Xiao Ye hesitated, somewhat evasive. It's not over yet. Maybe we can save both Sister Qingcheng. Ziran sighed. Xiao Ye, reality is cruel. Even the ancestral empress can't be found, and the time treasure doesn't appear on its own. We won't find it. You need to face reality and make a choice sooner rather than later. We have to save one of Qingcheng first. Xiao Ye was heartbroken. If I could only choose one, I want to revive the younger Sister Qingcheng, and the one from 100 years later. He fell silent, unable to finish his sentence. The Sister Qingcheng, who traveled back from 100 years later, had kept him in an empty room for 100 years. After finally being together with him, she still had to die? But if he had to choose between the two Sister Qingcheng, he would choose the younger Sister Qingcheng without hesitation. After all, it was the younger Sister Qingcheng who would be his bride. Ziran gritted her teeth, her pretty face filled with sorrow. Whatever you say. Perhaps the Qingcheng of another timeline doesn't deserve happiness. The Space Ancestor Empress remained silent, watching quietly. She wouldn't interfere in such matters. Sigh, we should hurry and retrieve the origin of the rules of destiny. It wouldn't be good if other gods snatched it away, Xiao Ye said weakly. But just then, he seemed to hear a call, a connection to his soul. It seemed as if some strange entity was floating before him. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 567 The Time Treasure appears, the two Gu Qingchengs are saved. Ziran and Cheng Bingxi wore expressions of sorrow. They wanted to save both Gu Qingchengs, but reality was cruel. They could only save one. Xiao Ye suddenly whispered into the void, "Time baby, come out." Ziran sneered, "Xiao Ye, what time is it now? You still have the mood to flirt with girls. That time empress is so beautiful, you're probably just lusting after her body again." Cheng Bingxi bit her lower lip, her beautiful eyes blazing with anger. Her reason was overwhelmed by bitterness and rage. The space ancestor empress remained calm, which she found strange. The human emperor shouldn't do this repeatedly, right? She looked in the direction Xiao Ye was looking. She saw nothing, only a vast, dark void, devoid of light. She scanned with her third-stage Emperor Realm Divine Sense, but saw nothing. She tried using spatial perception, but still found nothing. Xiao Ye raised his hand, beckoned with his index finger, and smiled, "Time baby over there, I need to talk to you." Ziran. Cheng Bingxi. They glared at Xiao Ye fiercely. HMPH, he actually flirted with the Time Empress right in front of us. How despicable. Xiao Ye's promiscuous nature is truly incorrigible. No matter how many beast girls he has, he can't change. He already has 10 beast girls. Adding the unmarried white-haired girl with pigtails, that makes 11. These 11 beast girls are all stunningly beautiful, with different personalities. There's the alluring, the innocent, the aloof, the fiery, the white moonlight, the first love face, the flat-chested, the Mount Everest-sized, the long-legged, the legs to admire, the fair-skinned feet. They have it all. Yet Xiao Ye still wants to seduce other women, and right now he's doing it, and the one he's seducing is a goddess. A cold glint flashed in Cheng Bingxi's eyes as a wicked thought arose in her mind, a thought similar to that of Big Gu Qingcheng. Should she hold a harem meeting, uniting all the beast girls in a single line? If Xiao Ye continued his promiscuity, they would lock him up together, taking turns emptying his feeding quota each day. They wouldn't let him rest, using their innate skills to fully revive him when he was tired, only to make him pay his dues again. Once all the beast girls were bored, they would take machetes and stab each of them to death, hacking him to pieces. Then they would commit suicide by cutting their wrists, burying themselves with Xiao Ye, truly and forever together. This thought had barely formed when she was startled. In everyone's view, Xiao Ye beckoned, continuing, "Very good, Time baby, don't resist me. I am also your master, but your young master. Yes, come closer, let daddy see you." Ziran and Cheng Bingxi's eyes flashed with murderous intent. Cheng Bingxi felt that her wicked plan might actually be feasible. The space ancestor empress frowned, still unable to sense any presence. It wasn't her sister, the Time Empress. Xiao Ye, as if gently stroking the head of a beautiful young girl, softly stroked the void before him, his eyes filled with tenderness, and said gently, "Very good, Time Treasure, I can sense my connection with you. Show yourself." A mysterious light flashed. A round bead appeared before Xiao Ye, beneath his hand. He chuckled, picked up the bead, and said, "Time Treasure, I've been searching for you for quite a while. Your master is right here, where else do you think you're going?" The Time Treasure pulsed a few times. Ziran and Cheng Bingxi stared wide-eyed in shock, exchanging a glance. "Ah, this. Xiao Ye is flirting with the Time Treasure, not the Time Empress? I'm sorry, Xiao Ye, I misunderstood you. I almost wanted to kill you with a woodcutter's axe. How could I bear to hurt you? You're more important than my life." Xiao Ye froze. What had he just heard? Cheng Bingxi wanted to kill him with a woodcutter's knife. He shuddered violently. "Bingxi, you're the one I trust most. Please don't have any bad thoughts, or I won't be able to bear it." Cheng Bingxi looked guilty, her head almost buried in her flat chest. She said guiltily, "Xiao Ye, I won't hurt you, don't worry. Even if everyone in the world betrays you, I will stand firmly by your side and support you." Phew. Xiao Ye breathed a sigh of relief. He was almost scared to death. He smiled and said, "I know you won't hurt me." Cheng Bingxi looked up and said happily, Yes, I won't hurt you." The space ancestor empress looked at the two of them with great envy. This couple trusted each other too much. She also wanted to gain the human emperor's trust. Not far away, where no one could see, the Time Empress, draped in a towel, blushed and her heart pounded. Her fair and delicate skin was tinged with pink. "Ah, thank goodness, I didn't show myself. Otherwise, I would have been so embarrassed. The human emperor is really something, calling me so affectionately, like he's flirting with a woman. I almost fell for it. Time darling, ugh, So embarrassing. The Time Empress covered her blushing cheeks, not even noticing the white towel falling off her body. She had come over when she heard the human emperor's call again, but having learned from her first experience, she didn't show herself immediately. Ugh! Why did the towel fall off? She hurriedly covered herself, her pretty face flushed as she draped the towel back over herself. She gave Xiao Ye one last deep look. Silently, the Time Empress left. The Space Ancestor Empress looked at the time treasure in Xiao Ye's hand, her lips twitching. This was it. No matter how hard she looked, she couldn't find it. No matter how she looked, she couldn't see it. Sure enough, treasures associated with a human emperor, if they didn't show themselves, even if they hovered in front of her, she couldn't see or touch them. The Space Ancestor Empress felt a deep sense of powerlessness. Her once invincible combat power seemed to have lost its effectiveness, offering no help whatsoever to the human emperor. Even though the human emperor's cultivation level was lower now, his caliber and prestige far surpassed hers, leaving her feeling utterly powerless. It seemed she could only help the human emperor find and seize the origin of the rules of destiny. She couldn't offer any other assistance. Ziran and Xie Mengxuan approached, their beautiful eyes filled with curiosity. Is this the time treasure? It looks small and exquisite, such a tiny bead. Xiao Ye grasped it, probing its contents with his divine sense, discovering a special space within. This space must be the time capsule for traversing the river of time. The information about the time treasure was transmitted to his mind. Cosmic Great Dao level, time-space travel bead, function, traverse time and space, travel to the past and future, time-space protection space, when external time and space are obliterated. One can enter this space to avoid the obliteration of external time and space. This is called the time-space travel bead. It can travel to the past and future, he murmured. He took out the soul-capturing pearl, using its power to envelop the young Gu Qingchang's soul and send her into the space protected by the time treasure. Then he took out a fragment of the great Dao of time given to him by Jiang Zunan and placed it next to the pearl. Absorb the energy and send Gu Qingchang 100 years in the future, so that my future self can revive and reshape Gu Qingchang's body. Then you can send Gu Qingchang back, he commanded. Chapter 568 The True Future, Gu Qingchang's Words. Ziran and Xie Mengxuan were overjoyed. With the time treasure, they could revive both Gu Qingchangs. It wasn't a matter of saving only one, or sacrificing the other. Emotionally, Ziran was definitely more attached to the younger Gu Qingchang and somewhat unfamiliar with the future Gu Qingchang. After all, since arriving in Hangzhou, she had only faced the younger Gu Qingchang, her body and appearance. She had only learned of the older Gu Qingchang's existence 10 minutes ago. Furthermore, if the younger Gu Qingchang died, there would be no future Gu Qingchang. If they had to choose, and could only save one, they would unhesitatingly choose the younger Gu Qingchang. But this choice was incredibly unfair to the future Gu Qingchang. She had spent 100 years in an empty house in the future, returned after countless hardships, and finally reunited with Xiao Ye, overcoming his prejudice against her. But after less than a week together, she would lose him forever. Not only would she lose Xiao Ye forever, but she herself would also perish. Her soul would be shattered, without even a chance for reincarnation. This fate was far too cruel, cold, and heartless. But now, with the time treasure appearing, neither of the two Gu Qingchangs needs to die, a happy ending for everyone. Ziran even wanted to set off firecrackers to celebrate. Buzz! The time-space travel bead hummed, emitting a soft light as it absorbed the fragments of the great Dao of time. As if charging itself, the previously lifeless time-space travel bead became active. Its gray color gradually turned colorful, giving a feeling of spring's revival, information transmission, words from the future Gu Qingchang, travel capable, energy sufficient, travel immediately. Xiao Ye received the message in his mind. It was from the future Gu Qingchang. Young Xiao Ye, I am Gu Qingchang from 100 years in the future. The Gu Qingchang of that time didn't truly come to your timeline. That Gu Qingchang was a fragment of my soul. The future Gu Qingchang you see isn't the real me. That's my obsession with you, my obsession with what I experienced during that period. I hope that after you obtain the time travel bead and hear my words, you can treat your Gu Qingchang from that timeline better. Sigh. The past me treated you terribly and paid a price of nearly 100 years. I regret it. I also hope that after you marry me, you'll treat the younger me better. This is a request. I beg you, don't make me spend 100 years alone. I'll go crazy. Sigh, I already have. Now I steal your clothes, underwear, socks, etc., every day, frantically sniffing your scent, and then I have to return them the next day as if nothing happened. My situation is unbearable. Sigh. After listening, Xiao Ye felt an overwhelming sense of melancholy and worry in the words, a low and choked voice, as if she were crying as she spoke. A desolate, utterly miserable state, an endless sorrow and melancholy. He fell silent. His future sister, Qingcheng, who had guarded an empty room for 100 years without ever receiving a single moment of his favor, was living such a miserable life. It was unbelievable. His lawfully wedded beast woman was living such a wretched and tragic existence in the spiritual world. Xiao Ye sighed heavily, looking at the young Gu Qingcheng's soul within the special space, and said, Sister Qingcheng, after you go to the future, tell your future self how happy and loving we are. After marrying you, I won't neglect you. I will fulfill any of your needs, even if it means ruining my kidneys. But then he shook his head. He chuckled self-deprecatingly, You're unconscious, how could you hear me? Never mind, I'll just write a letter. I'll tell you in the letter. He tilted his head, looking at Ziran and Cheng Bingxi, and asked, My wives, what do you want to say to my future self? You can write a letter and put it in the special space of this bead. It will carry Qingcheng's soul in your letters to the future me, the future Xiao Ye, 100 years from now. Huh? Write a letter? Ziran was taken aback. To your future self? Why? It makes me feel like I'm cheating. I love you now. You have us in the future to accompany you, and we accompany you in the present. Xiao Ye's lips twitched. Wait, you even think my future self is dirty? My future self isn't my clone. It's just writing a letter, nothing more. Ziran muttered softly, You in the future are probably already dirty, having been fed by so many beast girls for over 100 years, how can you be as clean as you are now? Writing a letter to him is practically emotional infidelity, isn't it? Cheng Bingxi covered her mouth and chuckled. Xiao Ye felt a chill run down his spine, exclaiming, Sister Ziran, writing a letter to your future husband, and you call that emotional infidelity? I really can't understand your comprehension. Your thought process is truly novel. Ziran snorted coldly, I've always been a germaphobe, otherwise, how could I have never even touched a man's hand in the 1500 years before I met you? Xiao Ye, let me ask you this, if it were my future self, and the future Ziran appeared before you, demanding you pay your dues, would you comply? Xiao Ye. His mind was a little blank. What the hell? The future Ziran, appearing before him? How could that be? Maybe, probably, possibly, I'll seek your opinion now. But if the future Ziran insists, then I can't help it. They're both my wives, why can't I touch them? But don't overthink it, the future you can't possibly appear in the present, there's no what if. HMPH. Ziran snorted coldly, You'd better not let that future slut Ziran touch you, otherwise I'll find you disgusting. The future Ziran has the future Xiao Ye. And the present you belongs to the present us. Seeing that Ziran was about to speak, Xiao Ye hurriedly covered Ziran's soft little mouth with his hand and said, Stop, 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 don't say any more. The Qingcheng sister who guarded an empty room for 100 years was a special case, and a wisp of her soul was separated from her by the future Qingcheng sister. She's not the real future Gu Qingcheng. Although I don't know why, this old Qingcheng sister's soul is complete, not like a fragmented soul, but she's not the real future Qingcheng sister. The future Qingcheng sister is still living well in the future? Ziran and Cheng Bingxi were shocked. This. The future Gu Qingcheng we saw was just a wisp of her soul? Xiao Ye nodded. That's right. So this old Gu Qingcheng can't go back to the future, otherwise she'll be absorbed by the future Gu Qingcheng, and once absorbed, she'll never be able to return. Ziran and Cheng Bingxi were stunned. The Space Ancestor Empress looked at the future Gu Qingcheng inside the soul-capturing pearl, and after thinking for a moment, concluded, she used a supreme soul treasure of the Emperor realm to complete her soul body. But according to the human Emperor, it's remnant of her will. This Gu Qingcheng isn't the real future Gu Qingcheng, she doesn't have all of the future Gu Qingcheng's memories. Yes, this Gu Qingcheng is essentially a remnant soul formed from the resentment and longing the future Gu Qingcheng felt while guarding the empty house for 100 years. This Gu Qingcheng is unique, unlike the future Gu Qingcheng. She smiled and said, Human Emperor, do you still want to save this extreme Gu Qingcheng soul? Chapter 569, Writing a Letter to the Future, Gu Qingcheng travels to the future. Not the complete form, but the form of obsession. Xiao Ye frowned. Is this still the real Gu Qingcheng? Ziran and Cheng Bingxi remained silent. Xiao Ye's voice was firm. Save her, we must save her. Although she's a manifestation of obsession, she's now a complete soul, with an independent personality and mind. She's become another Gu Qingcheng. Although there are some differences between her and the future Gu Qingcheng, she is still Gu Qingcheng, the real Gu Qingcheng. The Space Ancestor Empress smiled. Very good, as expected of the human empress, so loyal and righteous. I admire you. Ziran spoke up. Xiao Ye is right, we must save her. And bring her back to life? She's guarded an empty room for 100 years. After bringing her back to life, you must make it up to her properly. Make it up to her 1,000 times a day, all in one day. Xiao Ye was stunned, trembling as he raised his index finger. 1,000 times a day? Sister Ziran, do you want me to die of a stroke? Die on Sister Qingcheng's belly? Even an iron kidney couldn't withstand that. Ziran's expression froze. 1,000 times a day seems a bit too much? There's no land that can't be plowed, only oxen that die from exhaustion. Then you can make it up to her once a day, right? It won't waste time in the time-space palace. Cheng Bingxi and the Space Ancestor Empress twitched their lips. 1,000 times a day? Forget about oxen plowing the fields, the land would rot. Xiao Ye waved his hand, speechless. The person hasn't even been saved yet, it's too early to talk about this. Bingxi, do you want to write a letter to my future self? Cheng Bingxi shook her head. My future self will be with you, I won't have any emotional infidelity. Xiao Ye, even if you want to be emotionally cuckolded, don't even think about it. I, Cheng Bingxi, only love you, the present you. Xiao Ye fell silent. So, all his beast girls love him this much? Writing a letter to his future self is considered emotional infidelity? This love is too heavy. Cheng Bingxi leaned in and gave him a quick kiss on the cheek, giggling. Xiao Ye, the person who needs to write the letter the most is yourself. Write a letter to the future Qingcheng, and to your future self. To put the future Qingcheng at ease. And what if your future self develops impure thoughts about the present Qingcheng who traveled through time? You have to warn him. Tell him not to touch the present Qingcheng. Otherwise, you'll be cuckolded by yourself. Xiao Ye's lips twitched. Cuckolded by himself? The present him being cuckolded by his future self? That sounded so absurd. Alright, I'll write 3 letters, one to my future self, one to the future Gu Qingcheng, and one to the present Gu Qingcheng who traveled to the past. However, I think, based on my principles, my future self definitely won't have any feelings for the present Gu Qingcheng who traveled to the past. I know myself quite well, my principles won't be broken. Besides, my future self already has a future Qingcheng, would I still have feelings for a slightly immature past Qingcheng? And, would the future Qingcheng allow my future self to make a move on the present Qingcheng? No. After saying that, he took out 3 envelopes. To the future Xiao Ye, treat the future Gu Qingcheng well, make up for everything you owe him over the past 100 years, don't neglect her, otherwise, don't force me to travel to the future and slap you twice. I warn you. Don't have any impure thoughts about the present Gu Qingcheng who traveled to the past, otherwise I'll chop off my penis right now and become a eunuch, making you a eunuch too. I heard you're pretty awesome in the future, becoming the supreme being of the universe. You should thank me for my current hard-working cultivation, otherwise what would be the future you for? Okay, enough rambling. I've sent the current Gu Qingcheng over there. You find a way to revive her, help her rebuild her body, and then send her back. Don't you dare have any impure thoughts about her, or I'll go to the future and beat you up. If I can't beat you, I'll chop off my penis and make you a eunuch. Xiao Ye from 100 years ago. Ziran and Cheng Bingxi came over to look, their beautiful eyes widening, their lips twitching, and their teeth clenching. If the old me talked to me like that, I would spank him. Ziran said irritably. Cheng Bingxi rolled her eyes. How can you talk like that? It's so rude. Xiao Ye didn't think much of it. Without the present him, there would be no future him. The present him is essentially the future him's father. Without the present him working hard to collect beast girls, gather resources, and upgrade templates, how could the future him just lie around and level up, receiving feedback on his cultivation level? From 0 to 1, it's the starting point, the most difficult. What he's experiencing now is the process of going from 0 to 1. It's like laying a solid foundation for his future self. With a firm foundation, He can build a magnificent skyscraper without collapsing. Alright, let's write the second letter. Xiao Ye took out the second letter and began to write, to the future Gu Qingchen. Future Qingchen, first of all, I want to say sorry. You are the beast girl I married with all due ceremony, yet you've suffered such a tragic fate. I'm sorry for my mistakes and for neglecting you. If I saw my future self, I would definitely slap him twice. To ignore and neglect such a beautiful beast girl who loves him so much is simply unforgivable. Future Qingchen, don't worry too much about his feelings. Just knock him out, take him back to the bedroom, and drain him dry. After you've drained him dry, give him some kidney tonic to help him recover, and then drain him dry again. Once you're satisfied and have vented your resentment, then let him go. If he dares to neglect you again, write to me, and I'll take care of things for you. That bastard. He's already married you and he's still giving you the silent treatment. He's a real piece of work. Anyway, if you have any grievances, tell me. I'll write a letter to curse him. If he dares to disagree, I'll chop off his penis and make him a eunuch. My King Chang sister in this timeline, I love her very much, and she's living a very happy life. It's just that something unexpected happened, and she needs your help. You'll understand her situation when you see her. You just need to revive her, rebuild her body, and send her back. Don't let my future self have any impure thoughts about her. Okay, I wish you happiness. Xiao Ye from 100 years ago. The last letter is written to Gu Qingchen in the present, who is preparing to travel to the future. To Gu Qingchen, Sister Qingchen, after you go to the future, don't have any thoughts about the future Xiao Ye. He's already corrupted. He has the future Gu Qingchen by his side and doesn't need you. The me now needs you. You must come back alive, rebuild your body, and return immediately. Your loving Xiao Ye. After writing the 3 letters, Xiao Ye let out a long sigh and stretched his hands. Finally finished. Now let's send Sister Qingchen to the future, 100 years from now. Ziran and Cheng Bingxi nodded. The sooner we send her there, the sooner Qingchen will be resurrected and come back. Xiao Ye silently looked at the time travel bead for 2 seconds, then placed the 3 letters in a special space, far away from Gu Qingchen's soul. He gave the command in his mind, yes, travel 100 years into the future, have the future me revive Gu Qingchen, rebuild her body, and then send Gu Qingchen back. Buzz buzz buzz. The time travel bead closed the special space, isolating it from the outside world. It was enveloped in a supreme aura of time, and with a whoosh, it pierced through the air and entered the river of time, drifting downstream and quickly disappearing. Xiao Ye, Ziran, and Chang Bingxi stared silently at the vanished bead for a long time. The Space Ancestor Empress suddenly said, "Human Emperor, are you really that eager to chop off your penis? I wrote a letter, repeated it several times. If you can't make up your mind, I can help you. When I chop it off, you will feel absolutely no pain." She realized that she could help with this matter of chopping off a penis. If she could gain the human emperor's trust in this matter, all the better. Xiao Ye? Chapter 570. The Origin of the Rules of Fate Spanning the Endless Void. No, sis. He was just joking, using it to threaten his future self. You actually took it seriously? Besides, do you really need my help to chop off his penis? Xiao Ye's face darkened, and he waved his hand. Ancestor Queen, I never intended to chop off my penis, and I don't need your help. You're overthinking it. Ziran and Cheng Bingxi covered their mouths and chuckled. The Ancestor Queen looked at him suspiciously. Are you really sure you don't need it? If you can't make up your mind, I'll help you make up your mind. I can't help with other things, but I can definitely help with chopping off your penis. Xiao Ye felt like a million grass mud horses were galloping through his mind, and said helplessly, really, it's not necessary. If Ancestor Queen really wants to help, please help us seize the source of the rules of destiny. We will be very grateful to you. So, can you take your eyes off me down there? That's so rude of you. Ugh. The Ancestor Queen then realized that she had been staring at him there, and her pretty face turned away somewhat unnaturally. I'm sorry, I really want to help you. I will help you seize the essence of the rules of destiny. Ziran and Cheng Bingxi whispered to each other. Sister Ziran, gods shouldn't have that kind of need, right? Probably not. Then why is she keeping an eye on Xiao Ye? Does she really want to make Xiao Ye a eunuch? I don't know, but we need to be careful. What if Xiao Ye is secretly targeted and really becomes a eunuch? After the 2 women finished talking, they stared at the primordial queen with wary expressions, pulling Xiao Ye a few meters away from her. Xiao Ye also looked at the primordial queen of space with a solemn expression. He suspected that this person's motives were impure. He had stolen part of her spatial rule essence, and she wanted to take revenge on him, threatening to chop off his penis. The primordial queen of space. A bitter smile appeared on her lips. It seems she's gone too far. She wanted to help, but instead, she's made the other person very wary and suspicious. She still has a long way to go to make the emperor lower his guard and gain his favor. It was also her fault for grasping at straws in her desperation, desperate to gain favor quickly, even going so far as to say something like "help me chop off my penis." Xiao Ye waved his hand, signaling everyone to mount their star-studded beasts. The primordial empress also boarded, standing at the forefront. Her golden ancient robe accentuated her exquisite figure and tall, upright posture, exuding an air of regal elegance and an aura of unapproachability that inspired awe. Her haughty, beautiful eyes and expressionless face, punctuated by a slight bite of her lower lip, revealed the inner turmoil within her. Let's go. Zhang Zunyu controlled the star-studded beast, streaking through space like a streak of light, breaking through and disappearing into the void, speeding towards a certain point in the endless expanse. Xiao Ye, Ziran, and Chang Bingxi watched the primordial empress's furrowed brows, but none of them spoke to disturb her. This journey would depend on the primordial empress's help. Her expression, could it be that obtaining the origin of the rules of destiny on this trip is proving difficult? Xiao Ye's heart pounded with anxiety. The Bronze Palace could forcibly seize all things in the world, including the origin of rules, from those at the first and second stages of the Emperor realm. But he wasn't sure what level the origin of the rules of destiny was. If it was at the third stage of the Emperor realm, the Bronze Palace wouldn't be able to forcibly seize it. Therefore, he needed the help of the primordial empress. Her help was crucial. He needed to snatch it from the hands of the gods of Blue Star and protect the origin of the rules of destiny from being scattered. The primordial empress of space wasn't actually thinking about the origin of the rules of destiny. With her perfected third stage of the Emperor realm, she could immediately transfer the space containing the origin of the rules of destiny. She could also instantly teleport to its location. With her current formidable realm and strength, apart from the Time Empress, no god on Blue Star could rival her. What troubled her was how to make the Emperor lower his guard and gain his favor. If Xiao Ye knew this, he would probably be shocked. What would a god who has lived for hundreds of thousands of years do to gain his favor? He can't offer her anything now. Is she lusting after his body? Impossible. Do gods have such needs? If they did, he could just buy her a sex toy. Everyone was speechless. The star beast reached 1/10 the speed of light, rapidly traversing the endless void, flying straight towards a certain target 12 hours later. The group was still in the endless void. However, they had reached the vicinity of their destination. Ahead, a long, brilliantly radiant strip of the origin of rules, like a galaxy, stretched across the endless void, its length and width beyond the reach of the naked eye. Xiao Ye, Ziran, Cheng Bingxi, and Zhang Zunyu had only one thought in their minds: so thick, so big, so magnificent. This is the true form of the origin of the rules of fate? So big, so thick. Ziran stretched out her arms to show her, exclaiming in shock. It really is huge. Bigger than me. Xiao Ye clicked his tongue. Cheng Bingxi stared blankly. How are we supposed to grasp such a massive source of rules? Xiao Ye, are you sure you can do it? Xiao Ye hesitated. I can't sense the level of this source of rules. Senior Ancestor Empress, can you discern the level of this source of rules? The Space Ancestor Empress smiled faintly. Yes, I can. At the early stage of the third stage of the Emperor realm, 20,000 years ago, she still had a will, but 2 years ago, one day, her will suddenly vanished. I, along with the gods of destruction, devouring, and reincarnation, investigated further, but we couldn't find the reason for her will's demise. Zhang Zunan scratched her head. 20,000 years ago? 20,000 years ago, the future master and mistress traveled through time and space and came to Blue Star. At that time, she was still a little star beast who could only wag her tail to please her master. The master and mistress didn't take her with them, they left her on Blue Star. She only heard the words substitute, rebirth, and revival, and had no idea why the master and mistress came to Blue Star back then. Xiao Ye frowned. Gods can die too? The Space Ancestor Empress nodded, her mood heavy. Yes, gods are merely sentient beings born from the origin of rules. Erasing their sentient beings is equivalent to their death, although this method is very difficult to achieve. Suddenly, she turned her head, looking into the depths of the endless void, and gritted her teeth, saying, "The five elements god has arrived with his greedy god underlings, at the tail end of the origin of the rules of destiny. Human emperor, let's go take a look, and give him a good beating." The five elements god, and other gods? Xiao Ye, Ziran, and Chang Bingxi's faces darkened. Anger rose in their hearts. The clan war launched against the Xie family by the Ouyang imperial clan was ordered by the five elements god. Gu Qingchang died because Ouyang Dingshan had an emperor-level defensive restriction set up by the five elements god. Now, the origin of the rules of destiny that revived Gu Qingchang is being forcibly seized by the five elements god. These events filled the three with no goodwill towards the five elements god, only intense hatred and hostility. The five elements gods, I will surely kill them. Erasing their intelligence allows you to slay gods? How? I, Xiao Ye, will make sure that the first human to erase the intelligence of a god is killed. Xiao Ye clenched his fists, his eyes turning bloodshot. Chapter 571 Clash of Gods, the Primordial Empress's High-Class Status. Upon hearing this, the Primordial Queen of Space shook her head. Erasing the intelligence of a god was virtually impossible. Even with her current perfected third stage of the Emperor realm, she couldn't do it. She could beat a god, severely injuring it, damaging its very essence, but she couldn't erase its intelligence. However, recalling the fate of the Destiny Rule God 20,000 years ago, a solemn look flashed in her eyes. How exactly was the Destiny Rule God's intelligence erased? This happened suddenly, without any warning. At that time, the essence of the Destiny Rule itself was undamaged, merely hidden and dormant, no longer reflecting the Destiny Rule. In the past 20,000 years, the number of Destiny attribute magical beasts and humans born on Blue Star has been extremely small, which is related to the dormancy and concealment of the Destiny Rule essence. She shook her head, casting aside these distracting thoughts, and smiled. Human Emperor, such things cannot be forced. The most urgent task is to seize the origin of the rules of destiny and drive away those gods who covet it. Xiao Ye clenched his fists and took a deep breath. The Space Ancestor Empress was right. The most urgent task was to seize the origin of the rules of destiny and resurrect old Gu Qingcheng. He immediately released the Time-Space Palace, letting it hide in the void. It would protect him whenever he was in danger. If Ziran, Zhang Zunan, or Chang Bingxi were in danger, it could also protect them and take them into the Time-Space Palace. The Space Ancestor Empress was not worried at all about the human emperor's life. She had already experienced the power of the Time-Space Palace. Even she was helpless against it, so the gods of the Five Elements Divine Alliance couldn't do anything about it either. With a wave of her crystal-clear jade hand, Xiao Ye, Ziran, Chang Bingxi, and Zhang Zunun's vision changed, and a new perspective came into view. They had now arrived several light years away. Not far away were the Five Elements God, the Illusion God, and the Thunder God. These three gods, with imposing physiques and the appearance of middle-aged human men, were still cackling wildly. Hey, after 10,000 years of planning, the origin of the rules of destiny has finally been found. We have to thank that bitch who suddenly appeared and then died, forcibly raising her cultivation level and causing the origin of the rules of destiny to revive and reappear, otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to find it. That bitch is gone, we saw it with our own eyes. So what if she had great supernatural powers? She still died because of our plan. Ha ha ha, if it weren't for that bitch, we probably wouldn't have found the original body of the rules of destiny. Even with the Xie family destroyed, we probably still wouldn't have found it. An unexpected delight, heh. The Five Elements God also laughed wildly. So what if the Ouyang Imperial clan was destroyed? One Ouyang Imperial clan was gone, he could cultivate thousands upon thousands more. The original body of the rules of destiny was his true target. Hearing the mockery and sarcasm of the three deities, Xiao Ye's eyes were like knives, piercing fiercely. Endless rage surged within him, his face turning ashen. Sister Qingchang was already dead, yet these deities still mocked and ridiculed her. They truly deserved to die. The Five Elements deity, the Thunder deity, and the Illusionary Spirit deity, he would kill these three deities, erasing their intelligence and annihilating them completely. Ziran, Zhang Zunun, and Chang Bingxi also stared at the three deities with bloodshot eyes, their teeth clenched. Qingchang and the mistress had died because of these deities' conspiracy. Suddenly, the Space Ancestor Empress spoke, her voice echoing through the endless void. Five elements, Thunder, illusionary spirit, you've been too hasty in your celebration. Your plan ends here. Hearing this, the five elements deity, the thunder deity, and the illusionary spirit deity were struck dumb, their expressions changing drastically. The three deities looked around in alarm, exclaiming, "That voice, it sounds like the voice of the primordial ancestor of space. No way, a powerful deity like her, who disregards fame and fortune, also covets the very essence of the rules of destiny? This is bad. If the primordial ancestor of space comes, our plan will be ruined." They searched and searched, unleashing their powerful divine senses, but they could not find the primordial ancestor of space. The lightning attribute deity, recalling his past beating by the primordial queen, shuddered and said, "Five elements, illusion spirit, let's escape before the space ancestor arrives. She's a violent maniac, she beats up anyone she doesn't like. I don't want to be recuperating for 5,000 years, too afraid to come out." The lightning attribute deity nodded in agreement. "Sigh, our plan this time is really going to fall through. Five elements, if we can't seize the origin of the rules of destiny, we'll just seize the next one. There are still some rule origins without sentience on Blue Star, we don't need to be fixated on the origin of the rules of destiny." Five Element's face was terrible, as if he'd eaten shit, and he shook his head. "No, the origin of the rules of destiny is the only higher-level rule origin that can contend with time and space. The origin of the rules of cause and effect has never appeared on Blue Star, the origin of the rules of reincarnation has sentience, and destruction and devouring are subordinates of the space ancestor. Only by obtaining the origin of the rules of destiny and allowing it to develop sentience can the deities of our five elements faction contend with the deities of the space faction." The lightning attribute and illusion attribute gods remained silent. Their divine attributes were all quite ordinary. There's a saying, space is king, time is emperor, fate reigns supreme, cause and effect are invincible, destruction is holy, reincarnation. Ordinary attribute gods, within the same realm, are simply no match for these attribute gods. The gods of Blue Star are divided into two camps, one led by the five elements gods, lightning attribute gods, illusion attribute gods, wind attribute gods, light attribute gods, dark attribute gods, and so on. The other led by the space ancestor, the reincarnation god, the destruction god, the fate god who perished 20,000 years ago, and so on. Cheng Bingxi looked at them with the eyes of someone looking at an idiot, puzzled. "Xiao Ye, we're standing right in front of them. Are these people blind? Can't they see this? Hey, are you blind? We're right here, what kind of bullshit gods are we?" she shouted sarcastically. But the three gods still didn't hear her. The space ancestor empress's lips twitched. And she said softly, "Human emperor's wife, is it possible that I've blocked our existence?" Oh. Cheng Bingxi choked on her words, gritting her teeth. "My name is Cheng Bingxi, not human emperor's wife. Please call me by my name, thank you." That would make her seem stupid. The space ancestor empress nodded. "Okay, human emperor's wife, Cheng Bingxi." Xiao Ye found Cheng Bingxi adorable and said angrily, "Senior Empress, please beat these people up, beat them severely, leave them seriously injured." The space ancestor empress's beautiful eyes lit up. "Is the human emperor asking me for help?" Xiao Ye replied, "Yes, please help me, I will pay you." The space ancestor empress waved her hand. "No need to pay, I'm more than happy to help the human emperor." With a wave of her hand, the spatial shield that had blocked their existence was lifted, and they appeared within the divine sense and vision of the three gods. Space ancestor. Retreat. 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 The five elements gods, the thunder gods, and the illusion gods were on high alert, retreating tens of thousands of kilometers in an instant. Even so, they dared not relax their guard, their faces grave as they stared at the space ancestor empress in the far distance. The five elements gods clasped their hands and cautiously said, "Ancestor Empress, we have not offended you. Currently, the very essence of the rules of destiny is also without a master. Please do not interfere in our affairs. Thank you very much." Chapter 572 The origin of the rules of destiny is in hand. Seeing the humble and respectful attitude of the five elements gods, Xiao Ye, Zuran, and Cheng Bingxi realized the immense power and prestige of the space ancestor empress. "We're all gods, yet you treat me with such deference, while I ignore you completely. Is this the ancestor empress's way of being high class?" A slight smile played on the ancestor empress's lips, her eyes calm and unwavering. "If I insist on interfering, What can you do to me? The question was phrased as a question, but her tone was declarative, as if stating a fact. The 5 elements gods, their faces grim, clasped their hands and said, as fellow gods, why do you, space ancestor, have to make things difficult for us? That source of the rules of fate is useful to us, taking it would only be a burden to you. If it were any other god, or even a human, he would have already punched them, but he was facing the strongest god, the space ancestor empress. He had to be cautious. The thunder god and the illusion god wanted to say something, but the ancestor empress glanced at them. The 2 deities stammered, 5 elements, if the primordial empress wants it, then let us let it go. Even if we obtain the origin of the rules of destiny, it doesn't guarantee that it will develop sentience and join our side. The time required for sentience to develop is tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of years. Offending the primordial empress for this would be a losing proposition. The 2 deities shuddered involuntarily, recalling the humiliating beating they had received from the primordial empress in the past. The 5 elements deity glanced at the primordial empress with apprehension, his eyes filled with surprise. Why were there several humans standing beside her? Wasn't that human boy the boy protected by that bitch who died using great divine power? Suddenly, an evil plan flashed into his mind. If the primordial empress valued this boy highly, he might be able to use him to obtain the origin of the rules of destiny. Xiao Ye frowned and said, this god's gaze makes me very uncomfortable. Zhang Zunu immediately roared, you blind 5 elements god, take away your disgusting gaze, or I'll kill you later. The space ancestor queen was stunned. This star beast was so fierce. A quasi-emperor at the peak dared to openly insult a 5 elements god who was at the early stage of the 3rd stage of the emperor realm. The 5 elements god curled his lip, not taking Zhang Zunu's words seriously. She was just an ant, not worthy of his attention. He gave Xiao Ye a deep look, clasped his fists and said, space ancestor, since you want the origin of the rules of destiny, then we will give it to you. We will leave now. The lightning attribute god and the illusion attribute god were overjoyed. The eldest, the 5 elements god, finally understood. It was just the origin of the rules of destiny, it wasn't worth offending the space ancestor queen for it. Yes, we'll leave now. Space ancestor, goodbye forever. The 3 gods immediately transformed and fled at an extremely fast speed. In an instant, they were hundreds of kilometers away, fleeing as if escaping from somewhere. Zhang Zunan clenched her fists. HMPH, you got away, otherwise this maid would have killed you all. Ziran's eyes showed slight disappointment. Ancestor Empress, why did you let these gods escape? You promised Xiao Ye you'd beat them up. Cheng Bingxi's eyes were bloodshot. Yes, even if we can't kill them, we'll still beat them up. The Ancestor Empress looked at Emperor Xiao Ye and saw that he also looked disappointed. Her heart skipped a beat, and she said calmly, when did I say I'd let them escape? As long as they're still on Blue Star, still in the Milky Way, they're right under my nose. Where can they run to? Boom. The Ancestor Empress raised her crystal-clear wrist and grabbed with her jade hand. A space in the far distance collapsed, and she was transported to a spot not far from them. PFFT. 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 Within the collapsed space, the 5 elements god, the thunder god, and the illusion god were deathly pale, spitting out blood of primordial rules. The 3 gods' faces were grim, their hearts heavy. They knew that the space ancestor empress had attacked them. The 5 elements god said viciously, Space ancestor, we've already left, why are you still attacking us? This is utterly unreasonable. The space ancestor empress slammed her jade hand down. Boom. The collapsed space was compressed into a QR code. PFFT. 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 The primordial bodies that the 3 gods had painstakingly condensed shattered instantly, transforming into pure primordial rules. The gods' wills rose, looking at their shattered bodies, their hair standing on end in fury, gritting their teeth. The primordial empress of space exuded domineering aura, calmly stating, Reason? I am reason. I beat you up because I don't like you, that's reasoning. You, have any questions? The 3 gods were incredibly frustrated, so angry they felt like vomiting blood. Reforming their bodies would take thousands of years. Unless they used their trump cards, they couldn't reconstitute them quickly. But staring at the primordial empress of space's unparalleled beauty, the 3 gods forced out a few words, Primordial ancestor of space, whatever makes you happy. Never again. We're leaving. They vanished, their wills transferring to the source of the rules. The primordial Empress of Space simply watched, a faint smile still playing on her lips, quite sensible. Xiao Ye, Ziran, Cheng Bingxi, and Zhang Zunyu stared blankly at the primordial Empress's domineering and arrogant figure. This was the primordial Empress? So powerful. They shattered her body, and they didn't dare utter a single word. He even had to humbly say, "Whatever makes you happy." Xiao Ye couldn't help but touch his handsome face. Why would the Empress, who was so powerful, help him? Did she fancy his celestial-like face? Or his large, thick, thing? If the Empress wanted his rare treasures, she could just take them by force. This Empress was completely unreasonable. Just now she said she was the law. The ancestral Empress felt the human Emperor's fixed gaze, and her faint smile crumbled. Her pretty face flushed slightly, and she asked nervously, "Human Emperor, did I help you? Are you satisfied?" Good heavens! She wanted to help, but she had no ability to do anything. Now she had finally done something. Would it dispel the human Emperor's wariness of her? She, the ancestral Empress, still wanted to become the human Emperor's wife. As for being a protector, she wouldn't even be a dog. Xiao Ye said gratefully, "Thank you, Empress, for making the 5 elements gods pay a price. I am very grateful. What reward does Empress require?" The Space Ancestor Empress shook her head. "I helped you voluntarily, not for any reward. Hurry up and capture the origin of the rules of destiny, extract the will of the future Gu Qingchen, and merge it into the origin of destiny." Xiao Ye gave her a deep look. Could this Empress really have taken a liking to him? Is she after him for who he is? Otherwise, why wouldn't she ask for a reward? No one gets up early without a reason. He didn't believe that the Space Empress would help him without any demands. Ziran urged, "Xiao Ye, quickly take out the Bronze Palace and capture the origin of the rules of destiny. King Cheng's soul is still in a state of collapse, and there's not much time left." Xiao Ye nodded, waved his hand, and the ancient black gold bronze palace appeared. It was extremely magnificent and tall, entirely black gold, with its top piercing through the endless void, and the entire tower could not be seen at the end of the field of vision. "Seize the very essence of the rules of destiny," he commanded in his mind. Chapter 573 Extracting Willpower, Reviving the Future Gu Qingchen. Upon seeing the black gold bronze palace radiating imperial might, the Space Ancestor Empress was startled. She sensed an aura of equal rank from this imperial weapon, indicating that the bronze palace's level was no weaker than hers. Hiss! The Ancestor Empress gasped. The human emperor actually possessed an imperial weapon of such rank. Besides the palace called the Hall of Time and Space, there was also a bronze palace. She once again realized the terrifying power of the human emperor. After receiving Xiao Ye's command, the bronze palace exuded a mysterious and ancient aura, and a colossal blue chain pierced through it, connecting to the essence of the law of destiny. Buzz buzz buzz. The essence of the law of destiny trembled violently. The entire endless void trembled violently, as if experiencing a tremor. Retract. The bronze palace pulled the entire essence of the law of destiny, gradually drawing it into its inner world. Blood rain fell across the entire blue star, as if it were weeping. In an instant, all the magical beasts and humans associated with the destiny templates lost their brilliance, becoming crippled and unable to wield the power of the destiny templates any longer. Boom! A deafening roar echoed. The space containing the original essence of the destiny rules collapsed, and the original essence was captured and taken to the great world within the bronze palace. The primordial queen frowned and said, "Due to the lack of the fundamental source of the rules of destiny on Blue Star, some turmoil has occurred throughout the world. We must hurry. We must integrate Gu Qingcheng's will, and then release the original source of the rules of destiny back to Blue Star. Otherwise, Blue Star will descend into chaos. Without the support of the original source of the rules of destiny, the fate of all living beings on Blue Star will become a mess. Except for the gods, Blue Star will fall into hell until all life perishes." Xiao Ye's heart skipped a beat. "That serious?" The primordial queen nodded, her expression grave. "That's right, Blue Star cannot lack any fundamental source of rules. At best, the world will be in turmoil. At worst, Blue Star will be downgraded, and all the fundamental gods of the rules will be affected." Xiao Ye waved a blue light gate and said, "Everyone, enter the bronze hall. We will immediately extract Sister Qingcheng's will and integrate it into the fundamental source of the rules of destiny." Ziran, Cheng Bingxi, and Zhang Zunan, understanding the urgency and importance of the matter, Step into the blue light gate first. The Space Ancestor Empress hesitated, looking at the blue light gate. Entering the Bronze Palace would be equivalent to entering the human emperor's domain, severely restricting her. If the human emperor attacked her, her perfect body might be destroyed, and her will might be imprisoned within. Xiao Ye invited, Ancestor Empress, I need your help to integrate my will. Come in with me. The Space Ancestor Empress hesitated for a few seconds, then readily agreed, alright, let's go in together. Given the human emperor's loyal and righteous character, she believed he wouldn't harm her if she helped him. In gratitude? She didn't believe the human emperor would do such a heinous thing. She stepped out and entered the blue light gate. Xiao Ye followed. Outside, only empty void remained. The blue light gate vanished. The Bronze Palace suddenly shrank into a point of light, merging into the void and concealing itself. A peerless beauty shrouded in mysterious mist appeared there. Her bright eyes scanned her surroundings, muttering, has the human emperor already collected the essence of the rules of destiny? The ancestral empress should have gained the human emperor's trust by now, otherwise he wouldn't have let her into that tower. Her bright eyes suddenly lit up, her beautiful face flushing with excitement. Very good. Ancestral Empress, you must quickly become the human emperor's protector. With your assistance, becoming the human emperor's wife will be much easier. Time treasure. Ugh. Her beautiful face blushed. Inside the Bronze Palace, the highest level of the altar world, a magnificent source of rules stretched across the center of the world, occupying most of the altar world. The rules themselves emanated a rich aura of destiny. This profound and elusive aura made the altar world deep and mysterious. Above the altar, Xiao Ye took out the soul-capturing pearl, his brows furrowed. Senior Ancestor Empress, how can one extract willpower without damage? The concept of willpower is too fantastical and absurd. Can it really be extracted? Cheng Bingxi, Zhu Ran, and Zhang Zunun also looked bewildered, having no idea how to do it. The Ancestor Empress surveyed the altar, a hint of apprehension in her eyes. Hearing Xiao Ye's voice, she withdrew her gaze and smiled faintly. Willpower? I understand. Human Emperor, are you asking me for help? I've already helped you twice, and this is the third time. She proudly held up 3 slender, translucent fingers. Xiao Ye said gratefully, yes, Senior Empress, including this time, you've helped me 3 times. I am deeply grateful. In the future, if Senior Empress ever needs my help, please don't hesitate to ask. I will do my utmost. Sensing the gratitude and sincerity in his words, the Space Ancestor Empress smiled. She blinked and said, you don't need to call me Senior, just call me Empress. The word Senior is too formal. We'll talk about the future later. She was closing the distance between herself and the human emperor. Xiao Ye was taken aback, then smiled. Alright, Empress, extracting and integrating the will, this is up to you. We're completely clueless about will. The Space Ancestor Empress was overjoyed. She and the human emperor had taken another step closer. She could sense that the human emperor had lowered his guard against her. Otherwise, he wouldn't have entrusted her with such a crucial task as extracting and integrating the will. Joy appeared in the Ancestor Empress's beautiful eyes. After so much effort, she had finally reaped the rewards. She said happily, I myself am the origin of the special rules will, born with the help of the Time Empress, so I know a great deal about will. I will handle this matter perfectly. Xiao Ye handed the soul-capturing pearl to the Ancestor Empress, placing it in her crystal-clear jade hand. Xiao Ye pulled Zhu Ran, Zhang Zunan, and Chang Bingxi back 10 meters, watching quietly to avoid disturbing the Ancestral Empress. The Ancestral Empress's beautiful eyes became clear and empty, a sacred aura emanating from her. Her body seemed to have become an empty shell. A vast will appeared on the altar. Sacred, mysterious, profound, and deep. These auras filled the altar, enveloping the soul-capturing pearl. The soul-capturing pearl floated up, extracting the collapsing soul of future Gu Qingcheng and exposing it to the world. Buzz! Without the protection of the soul space, the collapse of future Gu Qingcheng's soul accelerated dramatically. If not stopped, it would likely completely disintegrate and annihilate within 2 or 3 minutes. Xiao Ye, Zhu Ran, Zhang Zunan, and Chang Bingxi watched nervously, their fists clenched, their hearts filled with anxiety. The sacred will descended from the altar, enveloping the collapsing soul, as if performing some kind of ritual. 2 minutes passed, just as the soul was about to vanish. A faint, almost negligible will emerged within that vast, Sacred will. The immense, sacred will tightly enveloped the weak will, conveying a message. Human Emperor, the will extraction is complete. However, Gu Qingchang seems to have something to say to you. Wills cannot preserve memories, her memories are about to fade. Hurry, or you won't even get to see Gu Qingchang one last time. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 574 Gu Qingcheng's Final Farewell in the Future. This is the lingering soul of the future Gu Qingcheng, separated from her original form. Through the power of a supreme soul treasure at the Emperor Realm, she has gained a complete personality and soul body, the future Gu Qingcheng. Xiao Ye, Ziran, and Zhang Zunyu stared longingly at the sky. Tears welled in Zhang Zunyu's eyes. Mistress, is that you? Little girl missed you so much. Ziran said worriedly. Qingcheng, are you alright? Don't worry, you'll be resurrected soon. Xiao Ye's face was filled with complex emotions. Future Qingcheng, I really didn't expect this. You hid in Qingcheng's spiritual sea as a wingman, letting Qingcheng flirt with me, and I, without any backbone, was taken down by Qingcheng, completely devoured. The future Gu Qingcheng's weak, pulsating consciousness suddenly surged, becoming active. It was as if something about to die had been affected and suddenly become active again. A series of messages emanated from that weak will. Zhang Zunan, serve our husband well from now on. You must not let him suffer while I'm away. Ziran, you slut, how many times have you stolen our husband's favor in the future? If you hadn't stolen my love, would I have been living in an empty house for 100 years without ever receiving our husband's favor? Humph. Everyone could hear the anger in her voice, her teeth itching with rage. Zhang Zunan choked back tears, sniffling. Little girl will take good care of my lord. After we get back, I'll cultivate diligently and make up for all the laziness I've slacked off over the past few hundred years. I'll strive to break through to the Emperor Realm and serve my lord. Ziran was speechless, her toes clenching slightly in embarrassment. Am I really that awful, stealing Xiao Ye's favor from you? Don't worry, after you're resurrected, I definitely won't compete with you. You can do whatever you want to Xiao Ye, even drain him dry. If you're embarrassed, I'll knock Xiao Ye unconscious and take him to your room. The Space Ancestor Empress. She was wondering if, after becoming the human emperor's wife, she would have to compete with those beast girls for her husband? She immediately rejected the idea. The once strongest deity of Blue Star, competing with a group of people below the Emperor Realm for a man, that would be too shameful. Becoming the human emperor's wife wasn't for the liberation of her physical desires, it was so she could be with her sister, the Time Empress, forever. The future Gu Qingcheng's faint will sent out information fluctuations. Husband, you finally know about my existence, future Gu. That's great. From now on, when we go to the bridal chamber, you have to reserve a day for me alone. I'm so sorry for taking up your time together. Xiao Ye's expression stiffened, and he couldn't bear it, saying, no problem, whatever you want, I can give you. Whether it's cultivation, life, or sex. You obediently cooperate with the Ancestor Empress, integrate your will into the origin of the rules of destiny, and revive quickly. The future Gu Qingcheng was very happy, and her information fluctuations were unstable. Husband, you said it. I've accumulated so many needs, and I have to use you to vent them. Why is my memory blank? What happened? How did I meet you, husband? Her tone was very joyful in the first few sentences, but in the last few sentences, she became agitated and panicked. Hangzhou, yes, I met my husband in Hangzhou, at a tea house. Wait? I don't remember. My husband and I were married, right? I don't remember anything. Why did I come back from the future? After I came back, why did I urge Gu Qingcheng to restrain her domineering and self-centered nature and seduce Xiao Ye? Who is Xiao Ye? Yes, Xiao Ye is my husband, but why is Xiao Ye my husband? I feel like someone very important is about to leave me. Her tone became increasingly agitated and panicked. Xiao Ye, Ziran, Zhang Zunan, and Sheng Bingzai looked on with worry, but they were powerless to help. The sacred and vast will of the Space Ancestor Empress transmitted a message. It's alright. It's normal for past memories to disappear after the will is extracted. She will forget everything she experienced, and she will forget everything about herself. After being resurrected, she will be a completely new source god of destiny rules, who can be called Gu Qingcheng, or the god of destiny. The will of the future Gu Qingcheng became very restless, jumping up and down. She screamed incessantly, I don't want to. I don't want to be a god. Without my memories, what's the difference between me and being dead? Let me die, Xiao Ye, kill me. Although I don't remember why I called you my husband, I feel you're very important to me. More important than anything else, more important than my life. It hurts so much. Xiao Ye, kill me. I can't forget you. Xiao Ye clenched his fists, his nails digging deep into his flesh. Hearing the future Gu Qingcheng's screams, he felt immense pain. But he couldn't kill her. If the future Gu Qingcheng were to be resurrected as a god, there might be a chance to regain her memories. If she died, there would be nothing left. He comforted her loudly, Future Qingcheng, don't resist the fading of your memories. Just let nature take its course. Your memories have faded, but we'll find a way to restore them. Obey and merge with the origin of the rules of fate to become a god of fate? The future Gu Qingcheng's will calmed down from its violent outburst. Her emotions became completely still as she sent a message, Who are you? Who is future Qingcheng? Why am I here? The message fluctuation was equivalent to a mental fluctuation, not expressed in written form, so there was no communication difficulty. Xiao Ye became expressionless. Had future Qingcheng's memories all disappeared? In that instant, he felt extremely distressed. It was as if he were about to lose future Gu Qingcheng forever, his heart pounding with unease. Ziran's expression stiffened. Don't you remember? Sigh. That's good. If she can't regain her memories, the divine Qingcheng will probably live a good life. If she regains her memories, Qingcheng might have to suffer the pain of remembering them. She sighed heavily, raised her small hand and waved, as if saying goodbye, saying, Qingcheng, goodbye. Zhang Zunan had cried all her tears, staring blankly with dry eyes. Mistress, no matter what you become, you will always be my mistress. Little Nanan will always be your servant. Cheng Bingxi bit her lower lip, remaining silent. The future Gu Qingcheng's will remained unchanged. She thought to herself, these people are so strange, talking to thin air, are they out of their minds? But inexplicably, she glanced at Xiao Ye twice, yet showed no emotional fluctuation. The vast, sacred will of the space ancestor Empress enveloped the future Gu Qingcheng's faint will, sending out a message, the time is almost here. It's time to merge with the origin of the rules of destiny. Xiao Ye solemnly said, Empress, it's up to you. The sacred will responded, enveloping the future Gu Qingcheng's will and entering the vast body of the origin of the rules of destiny. Suddenly, the heavens and earth began to churn with wind and clouds. The origin of the rules of destiny became dazzlingly colorful, the power of the rules of destiny permeated the air, and the power of the origin swept across the land. Chapter 575 Cosmic Dao Level, Will Adjuster. The very essence of the rules of destiny seemed to have been provoked, becoming extremely violent. Endless rules of destiny and the essence of rules surged forth, causing a hurricane to rise throughout the entire altar world. Countless tornadoes of the rules of destiny raged, and countless rivers of the essence of the rules of destiny swept across the land. Xiao Ye hurriedly used his authority within the Bronze Palace to move himself, Ziran, Cheng Bingxi, and Zhang Zunu into the core space. The core space was the control hub of the Bronze Palace, containing a mysterious chaotic mass. Here, all was calm, while the altar world was in turmoil. The three women and the maid were filled with lingering fear. Xiao Ye waved his hand, and an energy wave formed a large screen, displaying the situation in the altar world. The mountains, forests, rivers, and everything else in the altar world had been completely wiped out by the power of the rules of destiny, and the power of the essence of destiny evaporated into nothingness. Only the enormous altar remained unmoved, completely undamaged. The three women and the maid frowned, staring at the large screen, their expressions extremely grave. The first queen, will she succeed? The mistress, she can definitely be saved, right? I don't know. The birth of a god is extremely difficult, let alone the forced integration of will. All we can do now is to believe in the first queen. They could see that the original source of the rules of fate seemed to be instinctively resisting the integration of foreign things into itself. Zhang Zunyu clenched her fair fists, gritting her teeth, it's all my fault. In the 200 years since I awakened, I haven't cultivated at all. My cultivation level has stagnated. If I could kill the 5 elements god in one move, the mistress would definitely not be in danger. My lord, I will cultivate diligently from now on. I have all the cultivation resources I need, all the resources to reach the star domain realm. Little Nanan will grow strong quickly and avenge the mistress. Xiao Ye nodded. The 5 elements god must die. If we have the chance in the future, we must kill him. Erase his will and let the origin of the 5 elements rules return to Blue Star. Or let our people take the place of the god, become gods, and dominate Blue Star. Cheng Bingxi grabbed his clothes with her small hands, nervously saying, Xiao Ye, don't let hatred blind you. Those gods are too powerful. We must take it one step at a time. We can't be impatient and hurt ourselves too much. Ziran's heart was heavy. The 5 elements gods camp must have quite a few gods. If we want to erase the will of the 5 elements gods, we'll probably have to confront many gods. Xiao Ye snorted, an endless killing intent rising in his heart. So what if there are many gods? If we're not confident, we'll kill them one by one, erasing their wills one by one. If we're confident, we'll erase all the gods' wills at once. This Blue Star has enough gods from the Empress's faction. The group talked for a while, then fell silent again. On the large screen, the original body of the Rules of Fate was still violently resisting and struggling. They couldn't see what was happening inside the original body at all. They were completely in the dark about the progress of the fusion of the wills of the Primordial Empress and the future Gu Qingcheng. 10 minutes passed. And the anxious voice of the Primordial Empress of Space rang out in the altar world. Human Emperor, you must be prepared to accept defeat. The resistance from the very source of the rules of destiny is too fierce. I suspect it has already shown initial signs of developing a will. If it had no will at all, the source of the rules of destiny wouldn't resist so violently. Integrating the will in my way should have been smooth. Future Gu Qingcheng's will is very weak. If she forcibly merges with it and resists the newly formed nascent will of the source of the rules of destiny, she will likely be no match. The voice emanated from the energy-waved large screen, and Xiao Ye, Ziran, Zhang Zunyan, and Chang Bingxi's expressions changed drastically. The nascent form of the source of the rules of destiny had actually developed a new nascent will. This was something no one had anticipated. Another 10 minutes passed, and they waited anxiously once more. The ancestral queen's voice continued, damn it, I checked, and the origin of destiny's rules has indeed given birth to a new nascent will. The density of this will is far stronger than mine was back then. With the strength of Gu Qingcheng's will in the future, she most likely can't defeat it. Human Emperor, you must make a choice. Will cannot exist alone in the world for too long, it will dissipate. I can envelop Gu Qingcheng's will in the future, preventing it from dissipating, but once my will returns to my body, her will dissipate soon. So, do you choose to force Gu Qingcheng's will to merge with the origin of destiny's rules, letting her fight against that nascent will for control of the origin of destiny's rules? Or do you choose to abandon the fusion and let Gu Qingcheng's will dissipate? Xiao Ye was silent. How should he choose? Not merging meant certain death. Merging meant that even Gu Qingcheng couldn't defeat that nascent will, and in the end, she would still die. No matter the choice, death was inevitable. Since death was inevitable, it was better to let Gu Qingcheng die peacefully, letting her dissipate naturally. Xiao Ye was about to speak when he suddenly froze, changing his words. No, Sister Qingcheng can't die in the future, I must save her. But how? The voice of the Space Ancestor Empress continued, Human Emperor, say something. My forceful intervention has caused the nascent will of the origin of destiny's rules to rapidly take shape. It's rapidly reviving. The longer it drags on, the stronger that new will becomes, and the slimmer Gu Qingcheng's chances of winning become. Hearing the Empress's anxious voice, Xiao Ye frowned deeply. Ziran's face was ashen. Cheng Bingxi gripped Xiao Ye's clothes tightly, biting her lower lip. Zhang Zunyu frowned. Resurrection? I feel like I've heard that somewhere before. Resurrection, revival, revival. Her voice suddenly rose, filled with surprise. I remember now. 20,000 years ago, the Lord and Mistress abandoned me and went to Blue Star, talking about revival, substitutes, replacements, and so on. Back then, they also gave me something, saying I'd have a chance to use it. Zhang Zunyu opened her delicate white hand and took out a round bead emitting a ghostly blue light from her personal space. The ghostly blue bead automatically floated up and landed in front of Xiao Ye. Xiao Ye was stunned. He received a message from the ghostly blue bead, Cosmic Deo Level, Will Adjuster, Function 1. Erasure of all will in the universe. Function 2. Replacement of all will in all things in the universe. Function 3. Revival, birth, and catalysis of all will in all things in the universe. Master, Xiao Ye, he clearly hadn't signed a contract with a will adjuster, yet he inexplicably felt a special connection to it. Xiao Ye had a feeling that he could use this cosmic Dao-level will adjuster at will. Immediately, he was overjoyed. This thing could perfectly help Gu Qingchang's will in the future integrate into the original body of the rules of destiny. It could also erase any newly formed nascent will within the original body of the rules of destiny. Not only that, he had the ability to erase the wills of those 5 elements deities, illusionary spirit deities, thunder deities, and so on. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.